Premier League's profit and sustainability rules are sold to us as financial fair play, a way to keep clubs from going bust. But there are those who feel it's starting to look a lot like a system that protects the big boys and keeps the rest in their lane. Here's how it works and why people feel that way. So clubs can only lose 105 million quid over 3 years, which sounds fair, but here's the kicker. Your limit includes how much you earn. So if you're one of the traditional top six, might be backed by Saudi billions, but they just can't splurge the cash. Their commercial income isn't there yet. Want to buy world-class talent? Well, PSR says to them, your owner might have the money, but you're not making enough in shirt sales in Asia for that. The Magpies won their first domestic trophy since 1955, qualified for the Champions League, which you'd think would be a great springboard for them to go on and start building a team to challenge at the top. But because of PSR restraints, they couldn't break their wage structure for a new Alexander Isak contract, and look what's happened there. Nottingham Forest tried to invest to survive. They did that, but they got punished anyway. Meanwhile, clubs like Spurs, until last season, hadn't won a trophy in over 18 years, but because they rake in cash from the new stadium, they get a much bigger PSR allowance than a newly promoted club who are just trying to stay up. And let's not forget the loopholes these big boys are exploiting. Chelsea found the trick with those long contracts, selling the women's team. City are masters of related party sponsorships. Etihad this, Etisalat that, all within the rules, and fair play to them for capitalising on those opportunities. But what about the smaller clubs? They don't have that luxury. Now look, financial sustainability matters. Nobody wants another Bury or Morecambe situation. But there's increasing concern that rather than levelling the playing field, the current rules cement the existing hierarchy. So what's the solution? We'll either loosen the reins so ambitious clubs can spend within their means, or cap spending based on something other than revenue. Otherwise, we're just watching the same 6 teams swapping silverware most seasons while the rest play musical chairs for 7th. And that, folks, ain't what the Premier League was built on.
Good morning to you, 4 minutes past 6 o'clock, Tuesday, September the 9th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist is with me. And I got into trouble yesterday, Coisty, from a couple of listeners, because when the mic was switched on at 3.5 minutes past 6, I wasn't quite ready to go. So today, I was definitely ready to go.
I'll tell you one thing about our listeners.
Rollicking.
They're all over us, Jeff.
They're all over.
They are all over us.
Anyway, so look, I mean, we had quite a nice evening.
Well, a lovely evening with some that. Let's give the listeners the full story. So, I get back in. I missed the kick-off as a surprise. You were sitting there. A plate of nachos were ordered with some chicken wings for half-time. And I thought we sat and watched a pretty comfortable victory for my nation, which I was quite pleased about. I did mention to you yesterday I would have settled for 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty comfortable. 2-0 was about right, and yeah.
I think if that had been England in Serbia, if you like, England would have said, great, job done, good performance.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a really decent performance from...
Me too.
Really decent.
I like to look at the midfield. We mentioned that, didn't we?
Yeah, excellent.
Jay Adams runs about, works hard, gets his goal.
Then Gannon Doak.
Oh.
First half in particular was excellent.
But that's exactly the point I was trying to make yesterday about not just international football at the top level. If you've got somebody in a wide area that can get by somebody, what a difference it makes. Because First thing I said to you after 20 minutes, I said, we've got a problem down the right-hand side. As good as John McGinn is and Johnson, the right back, there's nothing really going to go forward. John's not going to go on the outside and Johnson's not really going to overlap that much. But we're good down the left, and I thought we're solid. Midfield, we've got a good midfield. McTominay pushed forward, did great for the header across for the goal. He was there for a tap-in for the second goal, which was knocked in for the own goal. Yeah, I thought it was a good, solid performance.
The only thing was, Coist, you took a call halfway through the game. Didn't you? Just tell us about that.
Ah, mate, it's a classic, wasn't it? So we're sitting there just prior to half-time. We Viv calls. How are you getting on? I said, the game, watching it. I'm watching the game. She said, I've just put it in. She said, I've dropped the boys off at the train. I've come back into the house. She says, I'm sitting with Jeff. I said, I'm sitting with... She said, you sitting with Jeff? I said, I'm sitting with Jeff, really enjoying it. She said, they're doing okay. I said, they're doing quite well. Poor crowd right enough, she says.
Because you might not have been aware it's behind closed doors.
She said, I thought the Tartan Army might have turned up in greater numbers.
Well, there was a funny story about that, because there was a group of Scotland supporters who travelled out there. Because they said the trips are so fantastic. The only thing that normally ruins them is the game. So they thought they'd still go.
I saw a picture of them. There was about 5 or 6 of them. Fair play to them.
Brilliant.
No, but yeah, all in all, a great night, but Viv quite correctly a little bit disappointed with the crowd.
We watched it in the sort of Redwood Sports Bar, where I have to tell you, the crowd was pretty similar to the crowd in the stadium. Belarus, Scotland was not the biggest draw.
No.
In fact, there were more people watching racing from Kenton Park on one of the other screens than there were.
We did have a couple, but that's a bit harsh. We'd have, no, but you're factually correct, but we'd have about maybe 8 or 9 boys next to us, and a couple of the girls next to us. But you're right, wasn't the biggest crowd I've seen in there to watch a game.
We've already had plenty of texts coming in, and I said I had to be sharp this morning. Somebody's texted me and said, Jeff, better. Thank you very much indeed. And Simon's texted and said, morning, fellas. Sorry, I missed yesterday's show. How was Ali's flight down? And you had to be listening the week before to really get that, Billy says, good result for Scotland, boys. Win the next 2, both at home. Playoffs guaranteed. I think you had a great chance. And Ant from as a Pompey fan said, morning, Jeff. Sounds like you had a good night's sleep. Oh, appearances can be deceptive, but that's another story. Regarding Nuno, you only have to look at his win percentage to see he'll be a huge loss to Nottingham Forest and a massive gain for someone else.
Yes.
And of course, that's the other story. That's going to be the big story of the day.
It's a big story, Jeff. Are you and I that surprised?
No.
No, I don't think we are we?
No. I mean, unfortunately, I think as soon as he's spoken out and criticised the owner, the paymaster, the opinionated, Evangelos Marinakis, there was only going to be one ending. And I think Nuno, in the couple of weeks that have gone since then, it sort of backtracked a little, but it was too late.
I think, Jeff, he knew. One thing Nuno is, he's an intelligent man. You and I aren't surprised. He wouldn't be surprised. He won't be surprised either. No chance. He knows. You're not taking that man on and beating him.
Yeah.
So, I'm not even sure he attempted to take him on. I just think he poked the fire, didn't he? Poked the beer a little bit.
Well, he certainly did. And after they lost 3-0 at home to West Ham, one of the TV interviews asked him about the result. He said, well, it hasn't helped my cause a lot, has it?
Yeah.
And I'm certainly new. And he leaves that job, by the way, in a great position. Because there will be plenty of takers for a man who's taken them from the brink of relegation to Europe and an FA Cup semi-final in the space of 2 years. He's done a fantastic job there. Fantastic job
without doubt.
So, it begs the question whether it's a mistake by Marinakis or not. But, at the end of the day, he's the fellow who pays the bills. And he is going to be the one who has the last say.
Of course he is. That's factually correct. You can see what you like. And as we saw yesterday, he's just about getting an opinion and everything, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Listen, from our point of view, he's great, Jeff. He gives us plenty to talk about, doesn't he?
Yeah. European football expert Kevin Hatchard was on air when the news of Nuno's sacking broke late last night. Here's his reaction.
Not a huge surprise. Once he'd made those public comments about his relationship with Marinakis, he was always in danger. We've seen this at Olympiacos with Marinakis down the years. He's not a man that takes any kind of criticism lightly, and we know that. And even if you've had the kind of campaign that Nuno has, it doesn't necessarily insulate you from this kind of thing. It was clear that his relationship with Edu, the sporting director, had been a complete non-starter. That obviously fueled the flames. And I think it's a great shame, actually, for Forest. I think it's a great shame for Nuno. I think as well, you look at that squad, it's kind of set up for the way that Nuno plays, that counter-attack, that kind of soak-up pressure and then hit on the counter. Guys like Dan Ndoye, I think, brought in, he's perfect for that kind of counter-attacking football. So what happens now? So I think it's a big risk, actually, not just in terms of the overall feel of the club and the vibe of the club, but actually tactically as well.
Yeah, and, we'll get the reaction of the fans during the course of the morning, and I imagine a lot of them are going to be very disappointed.
Yeah.
Indeed. What about the players, Ali?
I think they'll be disappointed.
Yeah. I look at people like Chris Wood, and his career has been, relaunched, if you like, under Nuno.
I think, well, you obviously don't know that, you know what it's like when you're a manager. The boys that are playing will generally speaking like you. The one or two that hovering about the bench in the squad that won't fancy if you're not picking them all the time. But you've got to say the one thing, looking at Forest, they look as though they've got a great, fantastic camaraderie about the place. I've been a couple of times, Jeff, and it's a great place to go to. A lot of the old boys there again, Ian Boyer and all the lads. A brilliant place to go to. Really enjoyable. They look after the old lads. Just a great atmosphere about the place. And you take a gamble. You do. You take a gamble and changing the kind of, if you like, one of the main features in that, who's been a rock, and that would be the manager and the coach, Nuno. So, yeah, I mean, there's no saying. And another thing you'd have to say, it's a difficult act to follow. I mean, it's a very, very good job for somebody, but it is a difficult act to follow. And you're right, there will be, without doubt, there'll be a great number. I would suggest the majority of players in that dressing room were very disappointed this morning.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I don't think any of them will really have been shocked. You'll have seen a load of names banded around, by the way. Let me just tell you one thing. Nobody knows. No. In newspaper officers and media officers up and down the country, reporters have been doing just what we did when we arrived at talkSPORT this morning. And so, who do you think? Postecoglou, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Rodgers, Deitch? They don't know, okay? So we welcome your suggestions for us fans to who you want, that is for sure. Just a couple of quick texts. Simon says, I know he probably won't, but the Forest job is made for Jurgen Klopp. He definitely won't.
No chance.
He definitely won't.
No, I wouldn't say it.
And I wouldn't normally read this one out, Coisty, but I think it's done in very good humour because it has a kiss on the end, okay? It says, hi, what a false laugh Ali has. So irritating. He's such a phony. And that's from Arnie Slot. Brilliant. I think that's very, very funny indeed.
Very good. I should have laughed at
that. Another one here. Morning, guys. I wonder how Morgan Gibbs-White is feeling this morning. He's denied a big move to Spurs. Yeah. Now he has to stay at Forest without his man.
He was one of the ones I was thinking about, Jeff. Yeah. Interesting. There were a lot of disappointed players. They're really, really well because he's done a phenomenal job there, I think.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. We looked at it, and that West Ham result, as big as it was for West Ham and Graham Potter, massive for them, might just have been the final wee nail for Nuno.
Yeah, maybe. I tell you what, I mean, my first thought coming in was that if Evangelos Marinakis knew he was going to sack Nuno, and I'm pretty sure he did, why didn't he do it immediately after that West Ham game? And I thought, well, they've taken that time to line somebody else up. And then I saw they've got Arsenal away in their next game, and I'm thinking, if I'm the incoming manager, I'm not starting on after Arsenal away. Yeah. But we shall see. It's going to be a good talking point this morning. Forest fans, let's hear from you. Are you in danger of turning on Evangelos Marinakis? I don't think you are, really. Even if
he's got enough in the bank, hasn't he?
He's got a lot of credit in the bank. Postecoglou, Mourinho, linked, Rodgers, Deitch, Marco Silva, who was at Olympiacos for a time.
So he was?
Yeah, he had a 79% win record there. All linked with the job.
He's doing a great job, isn't he?
He's doing a great job, but Fulham have not been active in the transfer.
And he was another one that's kind of, wasn't he? Yeah, I take your point.
I have no idea. I mean, that's what I said earlier on. Yeah. We don't know.
But it gives us a great talking point.
Yeah. And of course, I mentioned the Arsenal game coming up this weekend. That's their next game. Forest have got 4 away games on the bounce now. 2 of them in the Premier League, 1 in the League Cup, and then they've got their first Europa League game away at Real Betis. So, pressure on them to get somebody in relatively soon. Of course, that Arsenal game, by the way, live and exclusive on talkSPORT this weekend, 6:16. Give us a call. 03717223344. Coming up, we turn our attention to the back pages as we build up to Thomas Tuchel's biggest game in charge for England so far. And, of course, it is live on talkSPORT. this, Coisty?
Heard of?
This is the song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have heard that.
Yeah.
You heard me?
Well, I came in this morning and producer Ollie, who's suffering with a bad back this morning, bad brain as well. He's never heard of Dave Stewart, who was the driving force, along with Annie Lennox, behind Eurythmics. Never heard of them. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
This is the people we've got to work with.
He'd never heard of the Eurythmics, Dave Stewart and Annie Lennox.
No. He's heard of this. So just for Ollie, Sweet Dreams was number 2 in the charts. There Must Be an Angel was number 1.
What
Sisters Are Doing For
brilliant
Themselves,
songs.
number 9. Who's That Girl? Number 3. Here Comes the Rain Again, number 8.
What a song that. Here
So,
comes the rain again.
just the 33 singles and some fantastic albums.
Walks about his head up
As well.
in the clouds, I mean.
Yeah, he does. Well, he can't walk.
A combination
He
of the
can't
two.
walk with his head in the clouds today because he's bent double with his back.
And he got to sleep on his mother's couch. I'm so led to believe. After a terrific innings at the cricket, listen, we'll get to the bottom of it, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is sounding a bit fanciful now when we're talking about terrific innings of cricket and things like that, you know. He thinks he's Jacob Bettel, doesn't he? Sorry, Ollie. Well, we're not really.
No,
Anyway,
we're not.
loads of great texts and things. Paul's texted in and said, Russell Martin for Forest, please. Clearly a Rangers fan. Thank you very much indeed. Daniel says he might have a lot of credit in the bank. This is Marinakis. But who on earth would want to work for someone like him? Forest, for the first time ever in recent years, get into Europe with a manager who knew how to play with that team, and now they start all over again.
I know.
And get that down. But they got into Europe because they appointed Nuno, and that was down to Marinakis. And because Marinakis has put money into the club as well to enable their success. You know, maybe a bit simplistic. And I'm not sure every Forest fan will see it that way, but...
Interesting to hear from the Forest fans this morning. They'll be waking up to that news. I would imagine the vast majority will be very disappointed, Jeff.
Yeah. Trev in Plymouth says, Forest have got to get Big Ange in. P.S. I'm eating my morning pasty. 6:23, isn't it too early for a morning pasty?
He's on the night shift. He must be.
Just going home, you mean?
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, if it's the Trev I know down in Plymouth, if he's doing the night shift, he's gone down in the world significantly. I wouldn't be surprised, though.
No.
No.
Did you like a morning pasty? Did you?
I don't know. I've never been with him this early in the morning. Been with him late at night, but not this early in the morning. Right, let's take a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
And Angelina's back with us. Hi, Angelina.
Angelina, morning.
Good morning. We all good?
Yeah.
Brilliant. How about you?
Yeah. not
Good
too
day
bad,
yesterday?
thanks. Yeah, very good day.
Do you live down here or do you walk up the road?
No, I live down here in London.
Do you?
Yeah. But you know what?
Because you're a wee northern lassie, aren't you?
I am manager. Well, Salford, technically. Salford born and
Does
bred.
that count
me.
as northern?
Yes, it does. Don't
suppose
start with me this morning.
No, I'm just asking because I know. What's north of London for
Depends because London.
this is the centre of the universe.
London is
Milton
thing.
Keynes.
Yeah,
Watford,
anything.
Birmingham.
Yeah, anything above Milton Keynes is the north for Londoners. For me, anything
Yeah,
above
well, we must-
Birmingham kind of way for me, I guess. Yeah,
We must be kind of Arctic Circle like
100%.
Yeah, well, people who view Birmingham as in London as the north, you know, coming from Hartlepool, we view that as sort of the south, really. You are the Midlands, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Certainly not north, but
Yes.
there we go.
Well, anyway, we'll get into
let's do it.
the back pages. Obviously, the focus is on England.
Oh, sorry,
and,
England.
sorry, England and Serbia. So, in the sun, light at the end of the tunnel. Thomas Tuchel has warned his England stars that they face a horror tunnel walk in Serbia.
Oh, I remember it.
So they've got to
I do.
cover a 240
You've done that.
metre
Twice, a
walk.
couple of times that walk.
Yeah.
Is it scary?
It's a bit intimidating because the one
It's
thing
in the
I remember.
bowels of the stadium,
Well, you're
isn't
right
it?
under, it's a fair walk. It's right underneath the stadium. But what I remember about the walk is there's just hundreds of heavily armed guards.
Yes, there will be tonight.
That's the kind of thing that makes you go, aye.
Yeah, it's 240 metres, but Tuchel thinks that the red-hot atmosphere at one of Europe's most intimidating venues will finally bring the best out of his team after 5 underwhelming displays since he took charge.
We had a pretty good atmosphere at Villa Park till the team killed it.
Well, that's what they'll be wanting to do tonight. They'll be wanting to do that.
Killed the atmosphere tonight. Yeah.
A lot of talk about how, this atmosphere will actually bring out the best in the players. I mean, Ali, what's the most hostile?
That's it.
Stadium? Is that it?
Oh, that's
100%.
Oh, great. Yeah. We got an absolute doing there.
Yeah.
And by the way, well, they won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Might be, Jeff, you talked about the best teams I ever played against. This Red Star Belgrade team would come into it.
Yeah.
Mihailovic, Prozinecki, Darko Panchev, all those guys. Brilliant.
Yeah.
They had a phenomenal team, 1991.
I mean, the most daunting atmosphere I've ever played in was at the West Hartlepool Wreck. But in terms of games that I've been to, Napoli, that is incredibly threatening. Such a hostile environment.
They'll be similar. They'll be very. I've never been to Napoli. It's one place I'd love to go, and hopefully I can get an opportunity to go this year in the Champions League. But that for me would be more intimidating than Greece and Turkey.
Yeah,
Belgrade was. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there was but also there was a kind of underlying current there. It was a kind of, although it was an incredible atmosphere, I'm not necessarily, and it was a nice atmosphere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, obviously for the fans, they do need to be careful. Let's hope that all is safe this evening. And quickly, Harry Kane has blasted his critic Michael Owen after the easy Bayern move jibe. So I don't know if you've heard about this. So
No.
Michael Owen spoke on a podcast and said that Kane was nuts for joining Bayern Munich because he should have been chasing Alan Shearer's Premier League goal scoring record. But he got into it a bit. He was talking about his decision to move to Germany with his young family, claims that winning trophies for Bayern is not the same level as accomplishment as becoming the Premier League greatest ever goal scorer.
Still do it.
So Harry Kane has said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I've spent a bit of time with Michael Owen, but didn't know him that well. I respect him as a person, but he'll know everyone's career is different. I don't know if that's a bit of shade to Michael Owen's trip to Europe and how that didn't quite work out. I'm not too sure. But Ali, if you were Kane, would you rather have a couple of Bundesliga titles or the Premier League goal-scoring record?
Both.
You can't have both.
He can.
Yeah, he could.
I can't.
At this moment in time, though.
He's absolutely spot on, Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
He's been nothing but
And he's
remarkable
spoken about
success
it.
over Munich. Remarkable success.
As we said yesterday, 65 and 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, another year. I thought he might come back this year. I thought. I mean, I said to Jeff on a couple of occasions last year. Well, not so long ago, a few months ago, Angelina. If I was Liverpool, I'd have gone and sounded him out. I'd have sounded Harry Kane out. He'd probably. Well, I think he would have probably maybe scored more goals than Isak, but he will want to come back and beat Al's record. No doubt
No
about
question.
I hope he does both.
Thanks, Angelina. That was a look at today's back page of the Tesco Mobile for Business. I'm going to be in big trouble because we should have broken by now, but Ollie's fat and is back in the gallery, so he won't be able to interfere. I just want to read this text briefly. John in Troon says, Ali, Jeff, I'm not happy with the Scottish result. 2 strikers couldn't hit a party donkey with NASA telescope glasses on, and McTominay losing his edge as he now wears Italian suits and Cubans. Don't get me going on hairbands and passes back to the goalkeeper from the opposition penalty box. Bowie should have started. Forrest should have come on. That's from John in Troon. John, you're a hard man to please. Very hard.
Come on, John. It's a great start for us, mate.
6:29 coming up. Do we need to fix the footballing calendar? And if so, how can it be done? We'll discuss that next.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big 3 networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the taxman at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something, because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is alongside me. Now, it's pretty safe that not everyone enjoys the international break, especially one this early in the season. The Premier League's just got going, but after 3 games, we all stop and have to watch England play Andorra. Or indeed Belarus play Scotland. So that got us thinking, can international football become more entertaining for fans if we fix the footballing calendar? And how the heck do you go about fixing the footballing calendar exactly? That's what we're asking this morning. According to the former Crystal Palace, Newcastle and West Ham manager Alan Pardew, something needs to be done.
There's too many games for our professionals. There's too many games that we're having to play, isn't there?
Yeah.
And we're still getting all these kind of international games flooded into the system, where you're asking these guys to turn up and perform week in, week out. Oh, they get paid loads of money. They should be able to turn up. And they're like, yeah, but the motivation factor, don't complain if it's down a little bit, because they're used to Champions League finals and Premier League games and high endurance and high profile games. Do you know what? It's very difficult to get yourself up. It's not fair on anybody.
No, it's not. And the timing of it is an issue with a lot of people. This is the first international break. Obviously, Coity, 3 games into the Premier League season, 2 into the Bundesliga season, 2 into Serie A, 3 into La Liga. The next one is just 3 or 4 weeks away. The one after that is a further 3 or 4 weeks away. So as far as domestic football in this country, at the top 2 levels is concerned at least, it's so stop-start. And I have no idea what we can do to alter that. But there are too many international breaks, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. And but where do you move them to? This is the problem, Jeff. I think Pards is absolutely right, because the automatic, and I've done it myself, players are paid a lot of money, but let's just take the money to one side, right? That's a different topic of conversation. There's too much football for the top level pros, and it is absolutely impossible for them to continue to peak sometimes twice a week. You look at elite athletes, and that's what they are, make no mistake about it. They're elite athletes. Whether you're a boxer or you're a runner or whatever you may be, generally speaking, you're asked to peak 3 or 4 times a year, which is fair enough, as I said, boxers for bouts and athletes for big events. But we're asking the footballers to peak, twice a week for 40 weeks, and then you get major tournaments sometimes at the end. I think it's impossible, to tell you the truth, to expect peak level of performance from them as individuals.
Which is robbing fans who are paying a lot of money to go and see these players. They want to see them playing absolutely at their peak, not those who are carrying injuries or maybe missing games altogether.
And then it becomes a catch-22 situation, because the obvious thing would be, the first thing, obviously, do you drop the League Cup? That's the first thing.
No.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. So that's out of the equation. So where can we find a break for them? This is the problem.
At the moment, it's all about more, isn't it? More Champions League games as we have now. More Europa League games.
It's money, isn't it?
Club World Cup. Money.
More money.
What happened to player welfare? Where I feel there should be fewer international breaks is there should be fewer international games. So for me, and I know I'll get battered from some for this, the likes of Andorra should not be playing England in qualification for the World Cup. There should be a pre-qualifying event. If you are ranked below a certain level, you still have the chance to get into the qualifying events by, earning the right through a pre-qualifying tournament. So therefore, there aren't as many games. There aren't as many teams in the groups. It reduces the burden a little. I wouldn't say a lot, but a little.
Would it make an effect at all? I don't think it's a bad idea. If you're a tournament, I'm looking at that game last night. Gibraltar beat 1-0 by, who was it? Luxembourg? I can't even remember. It wasn't Luxembourg. It was Faroe Islands.
It was Gibraltar, Faroe Islands.
Right. Yes. So that game has very little or no real significance on the tournament. Right. However, the people of those countries will quite correctly say we're entitled to play in the competition.
And they would still be playing in the competition if they were playing in a pre-qualifying. If you look at other sports, look at Wimbledon. They have a pre-qualifying tournament there to earn the right to be in the tournament proper.
Yeah, but it's not an international event where you're representing your nation. I would do what you're saying, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate there and say that the people from these individual countries. But I was in Gibraltar last week, right? Wonderful place. There's no way that they should have an international team. Just absolutely no way, right? But that's one of the problems we've got. So I take your point, but I'm not sure that is going to make a massive difference to the overriding problem.
Would it help the argument if I reassured you that Scotland wouldn't have to pre-qualify? But look, something's got to happen, because you look at what's happening in these various international breaks. Now, I looked at South American players, but in actual fact, their World Cup qualifying is over, pretty much over now.
But you're right to make that point, because they've got travel on top of massive travel problems, and which
Chelsea have got 3 Brazilian boys.
Correct.
One of whom is Estevao, was just a kid, who've been playing during the course of this week. They're coming back. Will they play this weekend against Brentford? In Estevao's case, I would be very surprised.
Oh, well, if you're a top coach in the Premier right now, and you've got those boys travelling, they're the first guys you put a line through. Yeah, because they're on a day's travel either way, Jeff.
Yeah.
That's what you tell me. The flight's 12, 13 hours straight away. So they will not, absolutely no chance will they be in peak condition to play a top-level Premier League game.
Yeah. But let's look at, for instance, African players who are playing in the Premier League. Plenty of them, aren't they? Right. Their World Cup qualifying campaign is still going on at the moment. The African Cup of Nations runs from December the 21st to January the 18th. They'll then return to play Premier League, Champions League, maybe FA Cup, that sort of thing. The Premier League season ends on May the 24th. Those who qualify for the World Cup, That starts on June the 11th and finishes on July the 19th. And then the next Premier League season starts a couple of weeks later. It's impossible to sustain.
100%. Something has to give, whether it's their form, whether it's an injury. You know, they could have a breakdown in terms of the workload and the travel. I mean, you're absolutely right. I forgot about the African nations. We're asking them, those lads, those top players, and they are top players, to peak continually at absolutely elite level. Premier League, Champions League, African Nations and World Cup. It can't get any bigger than that, Jeff. And we're asking them. It's impossible. It's just, I mean, it's something the coaches and managers absolutely have to take into account now, is their physical and mental state to play these games. And that is why your department, I mean, it's, they all wear everything's monitored now, heart rate, the whole, in terms of the levels of fitness. And some of the guys now will they take their bloods and they'll look at their bloods, and if their bloods aren't right, they'll just no train, things like that, which in normal circumstances back in our day we would have scoffed at, right? But they're well within their rights to do that now.
Yeah. I mean, one idea which I've heard mentioned more than once is to have one international break a season where 4 or 5 games are played over, say, 3 weeks, so there are less interruptions than domestic football schedule. And there would be less interruptions, but it's not going to help the players, is it?
No. It's just intensifying the internationals during that period. That's all it's doing. It's not giving them a break or less games or anything like that. Not at all. Would it make less travel? Maybe. I know they've got to go away from home and things like that. I don't know, actually. I haven't given that any degree of thought, but would that put it into a section of 3 weeks, maybe a month, and get them all done then? It's a possibility. I'm not sure. It's certainly not taking that much pressure off the players, though.
I mean, we could all go on holiday.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'll just take you to task. I know you just mentioned it about the League Cup and maybe getting rid of the League Cup. I would say that most of the international level players in the early stages don't play anyway, so that would have no impact on their work.
I hope you didn't misinterpret my comments on me wanting to get rid of the League Cup. Far from it. I don't want to get rid of the League Cup.
Phew.
Yeah, no.
That's good to hear.
Oh no, far from it.
Okay. So we're in favour of reducing the number of qualifying games?
Yes.
Okay. That's the way forward then, boys. It will help a little rather than a lot. But at the moment, anything that helps a little would be extremely welcome, I would think. Now, still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Forest fans, listen up. We want to hear from you this morning. How on earth are you feeling after the departure of Nuno? 03717 223344 is the number you need. Get in touch with the show if you would this morning.
No, it's not good. It's not good. I think everybody at the club should be together, but it's not the reality.
He's a great character, as well.
Oh, you got to love him. You got to love him. He's laid back. He's extremely professional. Listen, Jeff, he knows what he's doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew you are not taking that man on and winning.
Are you sad, Forest fans, that Nuno has gone? Who do you want to take over? Are you angry with Evangelos Marinakis? Let us know. That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Very good morning to you, 6:50, and now it is time for this. Thanks to Arnold Clark Charge, we've got some electrifying cash prizes up for grabs on talkSPORT in our EV Lover competition. Along with fully charged amounts of cash to give away, we've also got 3 places up for grabs to take part in our grand final in Glasgow next month, where one lucky winner will get their hands on a fantastic new MG S5 electric car. So get involved. Simply head to talksport.com/win and get your entry in now. That's all thanks to Arnold Clark Charge, ultra-rapid EV charging at an ultra-low price. Find out more at arnoldclark.com. Coisty's having a good giggle in the background, and it wasn't at the competition.
No, far from it. Onto hostile atmospheres.
Oh, great.
The most hostile atmosphere I've ever experienced was when my wife asked how her new haircut looked, and I said to her, "Did you keep the receipt?" Very good.
Brilliant. That's from Mark. Yeah. Anna just says, Forest fan here, sad news about Nuno. Can't say it's a surprise after he publicly spoke out a few weeks ago. Marinakis has a long-term vision for Forest and shouldn't come off looking like the big bad wolf here. He's brought in a fantastic squad. Just a shame Nuno didn't feel he could make it work. Lots of Forest fans having their say at the moment. And people, by the way, talking about trying to reduce the number of games and the number of European breaks as well. And about the amount of football people play. Glenn, by the way, says, "Come on, guys, I finished work at 10 p.m. yesterday. I'm back in today at 6:30. My heart bleeds for them playing too many games of football for millions of pounds a year." And I get that completely, Glenn. But, if you're paying your money to go and watch them, you want to see players who are at their peak, not players who are absolutely knackered. Nick says, relegate 3 teams and promote 2 teams for the next 2 seasons to get the Premier League to 18 teams, 4 less league games a season. You know what, Nick? How many Premier League chairmen do you think would vote for that? Yeah. Correct, none. But, I know what you mean. It needs a bit of lateral thinking, but I'm not sure quite that lateral. Thank you very much indeed, though, Nick, for that text. Angelina's back with us.
Angelina, how you doing?
I'm good. You all right?
Excellent.
Wonderful. That's what we love to hear. Now, I'm sorry, we're going to be chatting more about England. But, there's been a lot of conversation about Thomas Tuchel's side being boring. The fans want to be entertained, and if England and football teams have an obligation to be entertaining. So on kick-off last night, assistant editor of The Mirror, Darren Lewis, and chief football presenter Adrian Durham had a debate about if England should be more entertaining.
We are in the entertainment industry. I'm entertained by you guys. I drive home, I listen to you guys. We can't get through 3 hours just doing the job. We've got to entertain. If you are on primetime national television, there is an expectation that you are going to entertain the nation. If Tuchel is telling us that he's going to do that, then why would he be surprised when people say, well, where is this football that you were promising?
That's fair. What I'll say is this. If England win the World Cup next summer but nobody's entertained, are you going to be bothered? Are you going to be going on talkSPORT and saying, actually, it wasn't really a World Cup win because we weren't entertained?
No. You will.
We're just happy winning the World Cup.
You will, Adrian. I've listened to you many times.
I want to win the World Cup. You know me as an England fan.
But I've heard you talk about the lack of entertainment from England.
What do you reckon about that? Because when Thomas Tuchel came in, he did speak about wanting to be more entertaining, like Darren alluded to there. He wanted to get the best out of the attacking players. So do you think he's made it a problem by doing that?
I don't think he's made it a problem by doing that, because every football fan out there looks at the England squad, looks at the players in the England squad, looks at the fact that we've got Eze and Morgan Rogers and Jared Bowen and Gibbs White, and we have quality players who are entertaining at Premier League level. And so there's an expectation, I think, anyway, that we're going to go out and playing entertaining football, which we notably have not done under Thomas Tuchel so far. And Adrian's point, by the way, saying, is anybody going to care, if we go and win the World Cup next year? Of course they're not. Of course they're not. But the way we're playing at the moment, we're not beating Spain. We're not getting anywhere near them.
It's about getting to that final.
It's about getting to that final.
The bottom line is, right, they're both right. However, if you're going to prioritise the situation, winning is far more important than entertaining, right? Because the fact of the matter is, if England had played fantastically well at the weekend with some really entertaining stuff and drawn one each, he's not on a job for very long. That's the bottom line, right? So that would tell you, that indicates that results are far more important than the level. Well, maybe not far more important, but they're certainly more important than the level of performance. What Thomas Tuchel is going to have to do, listening to the England fans, is going to have to find a way of doing both. But the one thing he can't do is drop the winning percentage, because that is, like I said, by far and away the most important. And Adrian's right. There will not be one England fan giving a hoot if, and there's a big if, in fact, it's the biggest if you've ever seen in your life, they did go on to win the World Cup.
But, you know, you saw it with the women, with the Euros over the summer. You know, it wasn't the best performances.
Correct.
But they got the job done and they beat Spain, and that's all anyone's talking about. But, you know, you mentioned Spain as well. You know, they were the best attacking team in the last Euros. You look at Argentina, they're really exciting in attack with Messi and co at the last World Cup. England just needs to be more dangerous in attack, surely, to make that next step.
Yeah, I mean, look, England would beat Andorra whichever way we played. So let's have a proper go at it, you know? Because we will win the game regardless.
See, the one thing you would say about the last Euros, I'm trying to think offhand, recent tournaments, the last Euros, the best team in the tournament won that by a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, I'll be honest with you, Angelina, the best team in the women's Euros did not win the tournament.
Correct.
Because England were incredibly fortunate time and time again.
But this is the point. Who cares?
Yeah. Nobody really, but there we go. Angelina, thank you. Early breakfast host Angelina Kelly there with us on talkSPORT. A couple of texts I've got to read. Right, Bert in Millwall. And a lot of people will say this. We're talking about, you know, reducing the number of sides that England and other elite teams have to play, if you like, in qualification. Hi, Jeff. So the worst teams play more and the better teams play less, meaning their development is strangled. Bert, I have to ask you, whether development is strangled or not, what level do you think Andorra would reach in world football? And the same would apply to Liechtenstein.
I mean, that's not a non-argument. How many, with greatest respect, how many Andorra players are playing in the Champions League?
Exactly. And I've got another text, and he said, Jeff, Asian qualifiers do exactly the same thing. Lower nations play first, and then the bigger nations join later, which it's you know, what I'm advocating over here. And here's a really extreme suggestion, and I think it's got some merit in it, and I'm going to get absolutely shot down. It's anonymous. I think it's an interesting suggestion. Why don't the top 20 in the world rankings automatically qualify? During the international breaks, the top 20 can all play each other and let the minnows, I'm not going to say who you said, texter, but it's a team close to your heart, Coisty.
Fair idea.
And let the minnows battle it out in the qualifiers. Well, if you had the top 20 in the rankings, you wouldn't want then necessarily to replace it with friendlies and so on and so forth. But it would mean less football for them. That is.
I'm just thinking, did one of those minnows no draw England at one of the Euros recently? But anyway, carry on.
Brilliant. Keep your ideas coming though. We're very, very interested, and keep your thoughts on Nuno coming as well. 03717 223344 is the number to call to give your reaction next.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Very good morning to you. It is 5 minutes past 7, Tuesday, September the 9th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. A lot of people reacting to how we reduce the amount of games that people are playing now. And a lot of people...
Great talking point,
a lot of people are rightly saying,
great.
Look, you know, I'm a trained driver, I'm a lorry driver or whatever, and I'm expected to perform at the top level every day. And they're right. But the problem is there's not somebody trying to kick them while they're trying to do their job. And, you know, I don't know about that. I'm trying to find a couple of texts in here which were really, really interesting ideas. Here's one. Morning, guys. Always listen. Why don't we make the season in Europe, say, 6 to 8 weeks shorter? Have an international camp for a month at the end of a season, play qualifiers, Nations League, etc. Stops interrupting domestic football. And I get that, but how do you reduce the league by 6 to 8 weeks? You're going to be playing 3 games a week, aren't you? So I don't really see that. And Morgan says, and he's not the first person suggested, what about if England had a separate team of players who don't play league games in a World Cup year and just stay in an England camp while they play for their country? I think if I find that Liverpool and Manchester City and Arsenal might have something to say
I think
about that.
John from one of the lads up in Scotland reckons why don't we just make the Champions League a 64-team knockout? John, it's a great idea. It used to happen back in the good old days, but it won't happen because of finance, because of money. It's just a money-making machine, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody else suggested that there shouldn't be any qualifying for the World Cup, just say everybody can come. That would be sort of over 200 teams. So hosting it would be an issue, and it would last all year. I would imagine. Anyway, it is great. Look, keep your ideas
Keep them
coming,
coming, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
The response has been absolutely fantastic. Now, this morning, we're reacting to the news that Nottingham Forest have decided to move on from Nuno, which is another way of saying he's been sacked. Yeah. It comes after last season was one very much to remember at the City Ground.
Listen to that roar from the Nottingham Forest fans. Finishes at Anfield, Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Forest fans are loving every second of it.
The whole thing that Nuno has put together is just working unbelievably well, and the players believe in everything the manager's telling them.
They like that. Oh, they like that. Nottingham Forest beat Manchester City by 1-0.
This place is alive now, the City Ground.
Right foot delivery towards Wood. He's beaten the goalkeeper to it. He's headed it in, and this one will count surely. Nottingham Forest deservedly lead at Tottenham by 2-0.
It is Nottingham Forest at their very best.
I think we are doing really well. Cannot ever forget the effort of these players through the season.
When you think about where he has taken that club to and where they were when he picked them up, it is simply sensational.
Into the corner, and it is 7-0. And it's seventh heaven for Nottingham Forest.
I can't actually quite believe the season that we're having. Nuno Santo, oh my goodness, he deserves the freedom of the city.
He didn't get the freedom of the city. He ended up getting the sack from Evangelos Marinakis. But it's an amazing run, didn't he? Took them from relegation, effectively, to spending most of the season in the top four, eventually qualifying for the Europa League, admittedly courtesy of Crystal Palace being axed from their position there. But things have not been right behind the scenes. Here's what Nuno said about his relationship with Marinakis just last month.
I always had a very good relationship with the owner. Last season was very, very, very close, almost daily basis. This season, not so well. But I always believe that dialogue and what you say or your opinion is always valid, because my concern is the squad and the season that we have ahead of us. But our relations has changed.
It's changed?
Yeah, it's not so close. It's not on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Is that a good thing, though? Or?
No, it's not good. It's not good. I think everybody at the club should be together, but it's not the reality.
And yeah, I think it was just an inevitability after that, wasn't it? It was a matter of time.
Yeah. It really was. I mean, but I'll say it again. He knows exactly what he's doing there.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, I didn't understand why he said it at the time, but now that you suggested that, I get that.
Jeff, he knows... Right, we just spoke about it. He has done incredibly well with Forest, right, as you correctly say. Can he improve them again this year and take them to the next level? Maybe. But I would suggest the smart money would say no, right? They've got European football to look forward to. I mean, can Forest realistically do better than they've done last year in terms of European football, FA Cup semi? Yes, of course. I mean, naturally, been better if he could go and win a cup. But the chances of doing that, I think, are less than him than the team actually standing still or slightly going back the way. So he knows his stock right now is as high as it's been in years.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this isn't a fact I'm making, it's just a potential. Well, it's an opinion and a potential for something that could be happening. He maybe thinks, I'm not sure I can do any more here. Right? Now, he's clearly had a rift with the owner. Right? He clearly knows he ain't winning that battle. Nobody's winning that battle at Forest, apart from one man. So why would he do it? Why would he do it?
Yeah.
Do you think that he thinks he's in a strong enough position not to get sacked?
No.
Of course he doesn't.
Of course not. Nobody's in that strong
Correct.
Look, let's get more on this and find out how it all developed. Late last night, it was very late last night, with talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Morning, Alex.
Morning, Crookie.
Good morning. It certainly was late last night. I just got into bed after finishing second runners-up in a pub quiz, and all of a sudden I had to jump out of bed to get on the sports bar and break the news. And then I went back to bed, and about half an hour later at 12:15 in the morning, Nottingham Forest made it official that Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked by the club for what they call recent circumstances. And I think we all know what those recent circumstances are. They're saying that it wasn't in their mind to part company with their manager before that explosive press conference you were playing out with Nuno Espirito Santo, talking about the breakdown in his relationship with Evangelos Marinakis. I'm not sure that's completely true, because if you go right back to the start of this saga, there was a report in a newspaper, I think it was over in Italy at the time actually, that Marinakis was sounding out potential replacements for Nuno, including Ange Postecoglou, the former Tottenham manager. And I think it was that article that really got under the skin of Nuno. That's why he came into the press conference, defied club orders, as far as I understand. He was told to play it down, this rift with the owner, and of course he did the complete opposite.
Crookie, for me, the only real surprise is it came at 11 o'clock last night, at 11:30. You know, that's the only real surprise. I was saying to Jeff, and I don't know whether you agree, the one thing Nuno is a very intelligent man. He's done a fantastic job at Nottingham Forest, and he's not daft enough to think that statement that he made at the press conference isn't going to get the hairs up in the neck of Marinakis. So, you know, there's a train of thought that he knew exactly what he was doing. Well, he did. I don't think there's any train of thought. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ali, especially as he was briefed, as I say, by the club not to say anything that would inflame the situation. And obviously, he decided to ignore that advice. I think the surprise for me was that he continued after that draw against Palace. It was 2 days before the game that he made those comments. I guess that would have been too late to make a change. Marinakis wouldn't have wanted to cause too much dressing room upheaval, but not only did he manage that game, of course, he also took charge of the defeat at home to West Ham. I guess the thinking from Marinakis would be that the international break is as good a time as any to change managers. But I agree with you, and actually there are parallels here to what happened towards the end of his tenure at Wolves, when he was quite spiky in press conferences. I think it's almost like Nuno decides when his journey has come to an end, and this has been reaching boiling point, I think, throughout the summer. Obviously, Edu has gone in there, former transfer guru at Arsenal, to oversee all of Marinakis' football clubs. There was a disagreement between the pair, Nuno and Edu, about Adama Traore, former Wolves player that Nuno was keen to take to the City ground. My understanding is that Edu blocked that particular transfer. He wasn't happy either about the signing of Douglas Luiz, not because he doesn't think he's a good player, but I think he just felt that he didn't have a big enough say in that transfer. And something I highlighted at the time that this rift first came into the public domain, when Nuno first made those comments, was there was a disagreement as well between Edu and the manager about the playing style. I think his remit is to bring in a more entertaining brand, a more attacking style of football. Obviously, Forest's success last season, and it was success, you can't argue that, they were flirting with the Champions League places right up until the last day of the campaign, was built on not having much of the ball, hitting on the counter-attack, and I don't think Nuno particularly wanted to change that style. So I do agree with you. I think the writing has been on the wall here for some time.
Crookie, very, very briefly, do you think the next incumbent has already been lined up?
I do, personally. The brief coming out of Forest is that isn't the case, but obviously because this has been bubbling away under the surface for several weeks now, I'd be surprised if there isn't a replacement lined up. Ange Postecoglou was the name, as I say, mentioned when we first heard about the fact that Nuno could be replaced, and I think he would be keen to take the job. He's keen to come back to English football. Other names we mentioned last night, Marco Silva at Fulham is someone that Evangelos Marinakis really admires. He's got a release clause in his contract, and I'm not sure he's particularly happy with life at Craven Cottage after the summer transfer window. Jose Mourinho has been mentioned, but that wouldn't really tick the box of a more expansive playing style. And then you look at managers in work in the Premier League, if Forest want to go down that route. Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth, who's obviously done a brilliant job there. Oliver Glasner, I think, is someone who could be tempted away from Palace because, again, he's been making noises all summer throughout the sale of Eberechi Eze and the potential departure of Mark Gay, that maybe all is not well at Selhurst Park. But I would expect a pretty quick resolution to this. I think there could even be a new manager in time for the weekend. I think they play Arsenal, don't they, on Saturday?
Yeah, Crookie, you can call me an old cynic, mate. I probably think that the hunt for the manager started at the end of that interview with Nuno, to be really honest with you.
Absolutely.
Or even before, Alan.
Yeah, well, you're correct, mate.
Well, you haven't got time to call him an old cynic because we're out of time. Thanks, Crookie.
Cheers, Crookie.
Thanks, guys.
Forest fans, let's hear from you. 03717 223344. Give us a call. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, there. Coming up, we'll hear from a Forest fan who'll tell us just who he wants to be in the manager's seat. That's next. Yeah, very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me on the Nuno topic. On X, Jonesy's sent me a message, says, one thing nobody's picked up on is the original question asked to Nuno. He clearly set it up and had someone request it. Why else was the very last question, how is your relationship with Marinakis.
Yeah.
So, which is an interesting point, isn't it? And back to how we cut down on the number of fixtures. Josh says performance in regional competition should decide World Cup qualification. For example, the last 8 in the Euros would automatically qualify for the World Cup. Yeah, Josh, I'm absolutely having that. And Shez, who's an Aston Villa fan, says, it's not just the players that will suffer with a crammed workload. Ali might pick up an injury while travelling all over the world working with them. Thanks for your concern, Shez.
I think there's a hint of sarcasm from...
was there really?
There's also another hint of sarcasm from Ben, the Tranmere fan. Ben's back on. Jeff, I didn't sleep a wink last night thinking about that Swedish club. Any update?
Ben, we'll give you the update next Monday morning. Okay, we'll let you know if they're still clear at the top of the Swedish top division. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a regular feature. At least I'm going to make sure the next 8 weeks. That's for sure. Now, look, after the disappointing showing against Andorra at Villa Park on Saturday, England have a proper test tonight. It's live on talkSPORT. Of course, they are away in Serbia. Could be a very hostile atmosphere. A Serbian team who are expected to take the game to England. They have some very, very decent players. Yesterday, Harry Kane sat down with Faye Carruthers and spoke about the job they need to do by blocking out the noise.
Yeah, I played here back in 2019, and I mean, it's one of the most hostile places I've played at club level for sure, and we actually had a really good night that night, so we managed to silence the crowd a little bit, but I think tomorrow will be another step up. I think Serbia-England is probably the biggest game they're going to have here, and they'll try and make it as difficult as they can for us, so we need to be ready for that, but I like these challenges. I think the team like playing in these sort of atmospheres. If you get through it, there's a sense of more togetherness, more just togetherness, I guess, that when you get through these challenges, that's what builds you for tournament football, and we hope we can have a special night tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to a special night. Well, needs to be a special night or a more special occasion than it has been so far, with all due respect, in any of Thomas Tuchel's games, because he hasn't got bums off seats, has he, in that sense?
Where are the England fans and yourself with tonight's game, Jeff? Are you more interested in the performance than the result, or, like I said yesterday, and I make no apology for it, somebody offered me a 1-0 last night, I was taking it.
I think it's different. This is a different game to the Andorra game, where I would have wanted us to go out, attack, entertain, be more dynamic. But tonight, in what is a hostile atmosphere, against what is a good team,
better team,
powerful team,
absolutely,
then the result is pretty much all important, in my view. Look, let's get a bit more on the game tonight and cross over to Belgrade, speak to talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers. Morning, Faye.
Good morning, Faye.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Hope you're both well.
We're really good. I tell you what, Faye, we're talking about, the expected hostile atmosphere in Serbia this evening. Does that suggest to you there might be some changes? For example, Elliot Anderson impressed a lot of people against Andorra at the weekend, but that was his first England cap. Do we think there's any possibility that Tuchel can change things and go for older heads, if you like?
He wouldn't tell me yesterday. I asked him, but he did say that Elliot Anderson was in the mix, and actually, he put in such a mature performance against Andorra that actually this is the perfect test for him. He's had his debut. That was an easier game for him to make his senior debut. Now, this would be the next test. Could he potentially be the number 6 that Thomas Tuchel has been looking for? A stern test against a Serbian side in the hostile atmosphere that we're all talking about would be the perfect way to judge that. And I think that he's ready. So I personally really hope he gets the nod, because I want to see whether he can build on the performance that he had at Villa Park on the weekend. And I like seeing Declan Rice playing in that more advanced role. And he got the goal on Saturday against Andorra that showed that. And he was able to dictate play in a different way, and we see him do that for Arsenal all the time. So yeah, I'd quite like to see that combination back again.
It's a funny one for you, because I think Jeff he might not have been indicating it, the possibility of a return to the England team for Jordan Henderson. I think that in itself would be an incredible gamble. I really do, for Thomas Tuchel, because I'm of the opinion if you left Anderson out and brought Jordan Henderson in and you didn't get a result, wow, I just think that leaves yourself open to unbelievable criticism. That's why my opinion from north of the border is I think he probably will play Henderson. I beg your pardon, Anderson. I'd like to see Jared Bowen, Faye. We spoke about it yesterday. Jared Bowen would be one I'd love to see get a start.
Yeah, I think he could potentially start, although Noni Madueke had another decent game against Andorra, and he's done well in every game he's played under Thomas Tuchel. You know, a number of assists under his belt as well, and he runs at players, you know, brilliant one-on-one. But I agree, I'd like to see Jared Bowen as well, especially because he wasn't part of the June camp, so I'd like to see what he can bring. Obviously, he has, you know, incredible experience as well in hostile atmosphere, so I think he could play really well. On the Jordan Henderson point, I don't think Thomas Tuchel cares about that. I spoke to him at length yesterday, and to Harry Kane, about the noise that's going on outside of the England camp at the minute, and they just said they just don't listen to it. They block it out because they've got a process, and what they're building behind the scenes, you know, they feel confident in. And, you know, Thomas Tuchel, whenever he's been asked about Jordan Henderson, is absolutely adamant that he's a key part of this England squad, whether that is predominantly behind the dressing room. I still think is a little bit disrespectful towards Jordan Henderson, because ultimately he's a Premier League player still. Yeah. You know, now he's back with Brentford. So I do think that, you know, if he couldn't play, he wouldn't have been picked. You know, he has more qualities than just the leadership qualities, I think, you know, that people expect. He has also played at this stadium before, so he knows what the atmosphere is like. So has Harry Kane. But whether he starts or not, I think, you know, depending on how the game goes, and this is where Tuchel shines, you know, his in-game management is usually pretty much on point. I would say if they need a calm head just to, you know, cool things down a little bit, then perhaps Jordan Henderson later on. Equally, he may start him, because I genuinely don't think Tuchel cares about what anybody thinks outside of the camp.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Just very briefly, because we're almost out of time. A lot of talk, and correctly so, about any potential racist outbursts. We've heard Harry Kane said he wouldn't be afraid to take the side off the field if that did happen. Is there a danger there is too much focus on what might happen off the pitch and not enough focus on what we need to do on the pitch?
Well, actually, I think, you know, the FA in particular have, and the players and Thomas Tuchel have tried to play any incident down. You can't predict it, you can just prepare for it. You know, until they're in the moment, they don't know. And the Serbian FA have done a lot of work this week. They've written in the programme, they've sent a message out on their website to fans asking them to behave, because actually it affects their qualification, because they could potentially, if they get another fine, that they're at a reduced 15% capacity for the stadium tonight because of their behaviour in a game against Andorra back in June. They could potentially be sanctioned again by UEFA for any indiscretions tonight, and then have to play that crucial game against Albania behind closed doors. So, you know, hopefully tonight will go without incident.
Faye, thank you very much.
Enjoy it, Faye. Good luck.
Let's hope you're right. Let's hope for an England victory.
Thank you. See you later.
See you soon.
talkSPORT's England correspondent Faye Carruthers there. Up next, we'll ask Ali if the current Scotland midfield is good enough to compete with some of the best in the world.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earn 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
Good morning, 7:35 it is, Tuesday, September the 9th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get £750 of any used electric car or home charger. Thank you for all the texts this morning. We have been
gone crazy, Jeff. Crazy.
Inundated. People wanting to give their ideas of how we cut down on the number of fixtures and the number of international breaks. And also, of course, huge response to the sacking of Nuno. Chloe, a Forest fan, says to be getting rid of Nuno on what is not a results-stroke performance-based decision feels criminal to me. We've let someone go who's broken numerous records, is at the verge of the beginning of our European campaign, which Nuno got us to, are not only cared for the players on the pitch, but the whole community of Nottingham, and supported everything the club does off the pitch as well. It just doesn't feel real, she says. And somebody else made the point as well, by the way, sacked during the international break. No chance for Nuno to say goodbye to the players who served him so well in recent times.
You would think there would be an opportunity to do that at some point, surely.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
You would hope so. You would hope
possibly. Let's see if there's some Forest fans. 03717 223344, the number to call. Jamie is a Forest fan. Morning, Jamie.
Morning, Jamie.
Morning, you all right? How are you doing, lads?
Well, very well, mate. How did you feel waking up to that news this morning?
Oh, shocked, mate. I thought I was seeing things when I looked at my phone. I really did.
And what do you think? Yeah. Did it really surprise you? And with Alex Crook on, mate, and I said, listen, at 11 o'clock at night, that might be the surprise. But after the press conference, did it really surprise you, Jamie?
Well, no, it didn't surprise me. But after saying, like, we heard a few reports last week that everything was fine and he was going to be the manager going forward, coming out of the club.
Yep.
And I thought that was going to be the case. And obviously, to wake up and see that, it's just like a massive U-turn.
Yeah.
The timing of it's bad as well. We've got to play Arsenal Saturday, and it's Tuesday today. So I don't know how they're going to get someone in and just do a quick turnaround to win the game on Saturday, or get a result, or get anything. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't expect anybody to be in place before the Arsenal game, because if you're a manager waiting to come in, you're thinking, I'll wait till that one's over.
Yes, Of course, yeah. I would as well, to be honest.
Who would you like to see, mate? Have you time to think about that?
You know what I would like? Glasner.
Yeah.
To rub them Palace fans up a bit the wrong way.
Ooh.
And,
that would be cruel.
I don't think you need to do that a lot, actually.
No.
Oliver Glasner gets Europa League football by joining Forest out there. No, seriously.
That'd be brilliant. Or, Mourinho or Ange. It's who we are, mate, isn't it? So, Ange, he always wins a trophy in his second season. So,
Look, I'll tell you what, Jamie. Jamie, thanks for the call.
Thanks, mate.
Don't forget Forest against Arsenal live and exclusive on talkSPORT. I don't get how you can have Ange Coisty, because the style of football is so fundamentally different from the style of football that Nuno played. The players that are at Forest now are there to suit Nuno's style, not Ange Postecoglou's style, in my opinion.
No, you're 100% right. 100% right. And that's my argument with Manchester United. The players don't suit the system that Amarin wants to play. So you've got the complete opposite there now. So you are now looking for a coach to suit that style rather than a coach to bring his own style in.
Yeah. But, you know, coach who brings his own style in, that is going to mean a further turnaround in play.
Correct.
It's more expensive.
Correct.
So on and so forth. Let's get the views of Danny, who's also a Forest fan. Morning, Danny.
Morning, Danny.
Morning, lads. You all right?
We're good, mate. We're good, mate. What are you thinking, mate?
Well, I'm not surprised. I think it was the writing on the wall after the first interview before we'd even kicked the ball, to be honest with you. I think he's openly spat his dummy out in a way. I mean, obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but what I will say is, you look at every other team, we've strengthened massively. You could argue other than Liverpool and Arsenal, and I include Newcastle in that. Are their squads in a better position than there was when they ended the season? I'd say probably not, whereas Forest is definitely substantially a lot better than it was. So if his issues, the squad, then I just don't think he's got a leg to stand on personally. I mean, he's been backed. It's not like we've bought in a load of deadwood. We've bought young, exciting players into the club. We've bought Premier League experience, European experience.
But Danny, you must be disappointed to lose a man who's taken you from the brink of relegation into Europe.
Oh, 100%. I was disappointed when we lost Steve Cooper, who took us from bottom of the league to Premier League football. 100%. I'm absolutely gutted. If you asked me this before we kicked the ball and before the first interview, I'd have 100% said I don't want Nuno to go. But things have happened, and I think Ali pointed to it. He knows what he's doing. What I will say about Nuno is he's very good with the media at keeping questions short and simple. With this one, he chose to expand on.
Yeah.
So he's openly done what he wanted to do, and there's not a Forest fan you'd have met at the start of the season who would have wanted him gone. But what I will say is, after the West Ham game, after everything that happened, I had a lot of... I mean, me and my dad and my wife, we go home and away to every game. We booked our flights to Seville. We ain't got a ticket, but we just want to be in that city for that game. That's the buzz of the club at the minute.
Of course it does.
He's killed that pre-games. He's killed it. You're walking around going, what's going on? Blinking out. We're meant to be dead excited. What is happening? But he's killed that buzz slightly. And there's a lot of Forest fans who are massive Nuno fans that have turned around and gone after the West Ham game. It can go now. Like, I'd be sad to see him go, but I think what the difference is, they can see why he's gone now.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. I think they can agree with Marinakis. They can sympathise with him. Whereas it's not like like you say, the results side of it's a shame, but that's the football world we're living in. And like I say, is there a manager? You look at Iraola, Glasner, Silva, all teams that we're arguably in that section of teams. They'd all jump at Forest job. They'd all love that squad.
Well, that's an interesting point. They're all in jobs at the moment, and whether any of them would take the Forest job is a moot point, you know. Anyway, Danny, thank you very much indeed for the call.
That's your call, mate.
If you're a Forest fan feeling a bit blue, we have a competition for you. £25,000 up for grabs, and both winners will get tickets to Oasis's final ever show at Wembley. Your chance to be part of one of the year's biggest events and have that 25 grand in your pocket. Imagine the possibilities. Don't look back in anger. Just make sure you enter, and here's how.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word OASIS to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
And the very best of luck with that. I mean, maybe I was a bit dismissive of the last caller, Danny, saying, Glasner, Iraola would jump at the chance, but would they?
Oh, no. I don't think they would jump at the chance, because from where I'm sitting looking at the two of them who are doing, incidentally, they're doing fantastic jobs.
Yeah.
I would suggest that their thoughts would be that they've not peaked yet with their clubs. They can still take Palace and Bournemouth forward. Both are great coaches, both doing really well. Glasner obviously disappointed that he's losing top player like Eze. At the same time, he'll be boosted by the fact that he's kept Gay. I mean, and I look at Bournemouth and Palace, more than capable of beating anybody in the league on their day. And I would still think those two coaches would look and say, no, I've got unfinished business. But you never know.
Rich, who is a Palace fan, so he might obviously have this view. He says, now hopefully Forest fans can see Marinakis is one of the big problems in modern football. Which manager would actually want to work with him? And Phil has texted and said, Nuno's issue is not the squad, it is about risk.
I saw that, yeah.
Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
Forest fans, keep the calls coming. 03717 223344 is the number to ring. Have your say. We'll also be joined by Adrian Durham to find out just how big a risk it would be to start Jordan Henderson for Thomas Tuchel tonight. And that's our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
Good morning, 7:49. Tuesday, September the 9th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. Texts have been absolutely brilliant. Thank you, James.
They have. Keep on coming.
Yeah, James from Devon says, how many clubs have appointed directors of football and it goes pear-shaped? Edu was a disruptor at Arsenal and now at Forest. I wasn't aware he was a disruptor at Arsenal.
No, was I?
No. Edu caused this, and the chairman was thinking of his suite of clubs. Cloughie would have kicked him out on day one. Nuno was brilliant for us. The grass isn't greener.
Here's an interesting one. I like this one from Sam. Sam says, I think Mourinho at Forest would be box office. No doubt about that, Sam. Could be a match made in heaven or indeed go down in flames. It'll be one of the two, Sam.
Yeah. I know which one I'd be going for. So what else do we know this Tuesday morning? Well, just confirmation. Nottingham Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked after 21 months in charge. Italy legend and manager Gennaro Gattuso was involved in a heated row with an Israel player after seeing his side win 5-4 in the World Cup qualifier. So out of character.
Enemy, man. I was talking to him in the summer. He's brilliant. He invited me over for a holiday for 5 days. I couldn't do it. We couldn't get the time together. But I also read he was walking about the dressing room at half-time slapping his own players in the face to wake them up.
Wow.
So I read, what a character.
Oh, well, and by the way, it's a wild scramble for Italy. Sandro Tonali won it in added time, didn't it?
Well, you and I spoke about it.
Win.
You and I spoke about it. We left after watching the Scotland game, and I said to you, what a game that is.
Yeah.
4-3 at that point to Italy. And then just as I got back to the hotel, I went to text you because it was 4 each, and then they scored again, 5-4.
Amazing, yeah. Now after that goalless draw, good goalless draw as well, in Denmark on Friday.
Yes.
Scotland won in Belarus last night. Steve Clarke spoke after the game at his delight at picking up the 3 points. But here's a surprise. He insisted there's a long way to go before they can think of celebrating qualification.
Yeah, it's a good start. But it's only a start. 4 points will never qualify anybody for anything. So 2 big games next month. But the effort for the players, the preparation, the help I've had from all my staff has been great, and it's nice to start. We can go home with a smile on our face, but I'm already thinking about next month.
He gets a lot of brickbats sometimes, doesn't he, Steve Clarke? Deserves a bit of praise for this performance.
Oh, of course he does. You know, we were rotten, weren't we, at the last Euros? Right, we were.
Oh, yeah.
We were rotten.
Yes.
But he got us here. He got us to the one before that. Great. We hadn't qualified for the major tournament for so long. So he's definitely got, in my opinion, a lot in the bank. And so he should have. Great start. Somebody said you got a draw in Portugal and win away in Belarus. Take it all day. And listen.
You didn't get a draw in Portugal.
Yeah, I beg your pardon, draw in Denmark. Actually, do you know something? I think we did get a draw in Portugal. I think we did before that. But, or was it Poland? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We got a good draw in Denmark and a good result last night. And I'm looking at the games coming up. If you can win your 2 games, Jeff, at home, right? Greece will be difficult for us because they gave us a going over the last time we played them. But in tournament football, and particularly in qualifying in recent years, it's got us a bit of pride back. Yeah. And the boys have got us that pride back, and we're getting some good results.
And you know what? You've got a good midfield, and as well as that good midfield, you've got a potential match winner, a match changer in Ben Doak. Ben Gannon Doak, as we should call him these days now, who just looks an outstanding talent.
Jeff, I said to you yesterday, what was the one thing I said to you yesterday? He has to play. He's got to play. Because I was having a wee moan when I came in and we watched the game in the first 10 minutes. I was delighted with the way he started, Gannon Doak, because it is so important at top level football when you're playing against a low defensive block, you've got somebody that can beat a man. Get the ball to him as early and as quickly as possible so he can isolate somebody in a 1v1, and that's exactly what he did. We're a little bit short on the other side because John McGinn, as good as he is, and he's brilliant, he's not going to get outside, beat 2 or 3 players and cross it, and Johnson was kind of more defensive, which I get. He put a couple of good balls in, but that was the player that we've needed, or Gannon Doak is the player that we've missed and needed for a long, long time. Our midfield could compete with anybody. Yeah. It really could.
It looks a good midfield.
It can compete with anybody.
And Gannon Doak, by the way, I mean, just ask Middlesbrough fans about him. Outstanding when he was there. So for more on all the day's biggest stories, head over to the website, talksport.com. Now, I know you've been missing hearing this jingle every morning, so it's back for one day only.
stick a load of singles in there, and then they fall in love.
Of course it's hard. It's supposed to be hard.
A 36-year-old, you'll have the knockers, you will.
Just because it's offering its teat, do I really have to muscle on that?
Is there anything in your personal life that could be causing you stress, sir?
I'm not a great lover.
Hello. Oh. What's your name?
Sarah Louise.
Sarah Louise. Fuck, you're up for it, aren't you?
I was in love at the time. That's what I was doing.
At the time. Angelina's back with us. Oh, transfer window's over. What's this all about, Angelina?
I know, you thought you'd seen the back of this, but no transfer rumours, I promise. This is all about managers, because, of course, with the sacking of Nuno Espirito Santo, Nottingham Forest are in need of a new manager, and fast. You know, they're playing Arsenal at 12:30 on Saturday, live on talkSPORT. So I thought that we'd get into this and have a look. So just like a dating app, I'm going to give you a manager. Swipe left if you're not having him. Swipe right if you think that they're the right fit. So, Jeff, you've already said no to Ange Postecoglou, so are we swiping left?
We're swiping left.
I'm not necessarily swiping... Oh, hold on a minute. Hey, just get that beeper back on.
It's a bit loud, that, wasn't it?
I'm not necessarily swiping left, right?
Were you swiping right?
I'm going to have a think about it, because...
How many games did Tottenham lose last season?
I know. Now,
17th
Jeff,
in
let
the
me
Premier League.
get my tuppence worth in, please. I think... Listen, he could play with those players. You saw, it's not his ideal style of playing. Of course it's not. But he went to Frankfurt, got a good result by doing something different. Could argue in the final he did something different against United. So Big Ange is more than capable of doing it.
Forest
it's only left or right, you know.
Yeah, Forest reportedly do want a more attractive style of play, which Ange could bring, but, you know, has the squad been built to do what Ange would want them to do?
No, I don't think it has. I think Jeff's right. But that's not... I'm not ruling out that he couldn't adapt to that.
Okay.
So, I'm swiping right.
Okay.
We got there, well done. Very
You've
good.
got a match.
Next up, Jose Mourinho had a lot of success in Europe, won a lot of trophies, speaks his mind. Not too sure how that would go with the owner. Jeff, you giving us a look here?
I'm swiping right just to annoy Jeff. I am swiping right immediately because, like my mate said, Sam that came on there, box office, selfishly, it'd be fantastic for us.
Think of those press conferences.
Think about it, Jeff. Think about you and I on a Monday morning when Mourinho's lost the plot and they've fallen out in Marinakis. They had a real head-to-head on a Sunday after a game. Yes, it's a must for us, mate.
If he wants more attacking football, then Jose is not the man. Swipe left.
Hey, one thing I didn't realise about Jose Mourinho, since you're 5'11", Ali, you know, very, very tall, he's a lot shorter than I thought.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
He is. Not quite John Bon Jovi.
No, not as tall as you.
He's not crouchy.
No. Next, Brendan Rodgers.
Oof.
Been around the block a bit, got a good amount of experience. Do we think that this could be a good match?
Well, it'd be a great match for Forest. I think, I'm not sure Brendan's sending out the signals that he's happy up the road. Clearly Celtic are nowhere nearly as strong as they have been. I'm not sure they've had a good... Well, I'm sure they've not had a great window. Oh, dear me. From Forest's point of view...
Aren't you glad it's not like 3 options?
I know.
Because 2 takes long enough.
Lunchtime, I know.
Right. I'm going 3 rights today. Right. I'm just going to annoy the Celtic supporters.
You've got a match.
Yeah. And I think the same thing, you know, with Brendan. I think you've been really disappointed with their transfer window. Really disappointed with their transfer window. And I wonder what more he's going to achieve at Celtic. So I would swipe right.
Another one, Marco Silva. So not happy with this. Well, he's got a year left on his contract, has complained a fair bit about Fulham and the transfers, you know, not the lack of signings. So, you know, could he be lured away?
From Forest's point of view, you take him all day.
Yeah.
All day. But I'm swiping left because I don't think it will happen. Yes, I don't think he's been particularly happy with his window either. But I think he appreciates he's got a good side. As we've seen since the start of the season, Fulham are a good side, and I think he'll stay there.
Yeah, they have got a good side, but of course he could go to a side who've got Europa League football. And he was, obviously, Marinakis owns Olympiacos. Marco Silva was an Olympiacos manager for a year. That is a long time to be an Olympiacos manager. For the 79% win rate, astonishing win rate he had when he was there. Absolutely amazing. I think Marco Silva could be tempted. Sorry, Fulham fans, but I would definitely swipe right.
Last one quickly, Sean Dyche. I say quickly.
Well,
that was foolish.
That's an immediate swipe right. There you are. I can't get any quicker than that.
It's swipe left for me because he's far too busy with celebrities go dating.
Yes, of course. Bumping into Kerry Katona and whatnot.
And sitting in the seat as well.
Yeah.
And sitting in the seat.
Sitting in the seat, and we don't want to lose him.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Change my mind. He stays here.
Okay, well, we've got somewhere there.
Go on, pick one. Who's it going to be?
You swipe
Ange.
right on those.
You think Ange?
Ange? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to go for Marco Silva.
I agree.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And look, the guessing game will go, because that's all we're doing, guys. We're just guessing. We have no
idea.
No inside knowledge at all, but no knowledge at all.
Most things we've got no knowledge.
Yeah, no idea, no knowledge. Yeah, you've nailed us.
That sums us up.
Angelina, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Coming up, how attractive is Nottingham Forest as a club? Well, pretty attractive. Could they lure away the likes of Silva, Iraola and Glasner from their respective clubs? 03717 223344 is the number to call to have your say.
how did it all begin? Incredibly, the first Lions tour was organised and funded by three men who played in England's first ever Test cricket match: opening bowler Alfred Shaw, opening batsman Arthur Shrewsbury and captain James Lillywhite. The 1888 Lions squad, then made up of 17 English, 4 Scots and 1 Welshman and a Northern Irishman, took a 46-day boat trip to New Zealand before heading to Australia. The Lions weren't alone on the boat. Also on board were 300 stoats and weasels, who were brought over to eliminate New Zealand's rabbit problem. The first ever Lions captain, Robert Seddon, died of drowning midway through the tour while sculling on a river. Andrew Stoddart, who was another of the cricketers there, took over and was the star of the tour. The next one was the first to get official recognition from the RFU against the newly formed Springboks. Although the Lions won the series and beat the Boks again 5 years later, in the 12 series since in South Africa, they've only won 2. New Zealand has proved an even tougher hunting ground, just the 1 series win for the Lions in 11 attempts, which came in 1971. And then there was that nail-shredding drawn series in 2017, only the second in Lions history. Only once have the Lions clinched a series after losing the first test, 1989, when David Campese's infamous ghost pass was pounced upon by Ian Evans. Before World War II, the Lions had a dark blue strip, which on the 1930 tour forced the All Blacks to play in all white. So in 1950, the iconic red shirts, white shorts and blue and green socks combination was born. It remains the symbol of the greatest alliance of adversaries in all of sport. To borrow the phrase from Jim Telfer, the Lions is Everest.
Good morning, it's Tuesday, September the 9th. It's 6 minutes past 8. It's been a lively old morning so far as well. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. On the way for you this morning, Cardiff City fans, listen up. After your dream start to the season in League One, manager Brian Barry Murphy will be with us to discuss life as a boss at the top of the table. And after Thomas Tuchel claimed he's not afraid to go long with England in terms of long balls into the box and long throws, the man who introduced some of that to English football, Tony Pulis, will join us. He did a lot more than that as well, by the way. Of
course he did.
But now, Nottingham Forest fans, never a quiet day at your club, not at the moment. An owner of Angelos Marinakis has made the headlines again. Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked.
Hit by Anderson, and it's in! Anderson from the edge of the box. What a start for Nottingham Forest!
Nuno is a genius. It's official.
I always had a very good relationship with the owner. Last season was very, very, very close, almost daily basis. But our relations has changed.
I mean, Marinakis is a strong character. Like him or loathe him.
I'm not sure it's wise to do what Nuno Espirito Santo has done.
Without Marinakis, Nottingham Forest would not be in this position.
The owner, when he come in, he talked about Champions League, you know, so that must be their aim.
No, it's not good. It's not good. I think everybody at the club should be together, but it's not the reality.
Every club would love to have an owner like Mr. Marinakis, and he cares deeply about what goes on. I mean, the Awani thing, the injury, that got all misinterpreted.
You mentioned the point, do you poke the bear? I'm not so sure that you do, and this is a problem, so it will be a problem in future.
Yes, Evangelos Marinakis, box office, that is for sure. But is he a good boss to work for? We see him charged on at the pitch, haven't we? To confront his manager. He sort of corrected that a bit later on. But look, under him and under Nuno, Forest have been sensational. First of all, the club kept up by Nuno. Then a 7th place finish, Europa League spot. as well. However, after Nuno's comments last month about his relationship with the owner, the writing was always on the wall. Fast forward to now, and Nuno is gone. The former Forest manager Martin O'Neill knows a thing or two about Marinakis. Last month he explained how he was sacked by the Forest owner. Take a listen.
Well, I worked for about 4 months. I came in January of 2019 and lasted 19 games. So, yeah, and strangely enough, ironically enough, I had a really decent week with him in Athens at the end of the season, that particular season, and looking forward to the next season. I came back. I did 1 week of pre-season with the team and was shown the door. Fine. Listen, it's can be pretty volatile. There's no question about it. And yeah, I didn't have that many dealings face to face with him. It was all done through the chief executive and the director of football as much as anything else. But the messages would have been coming straight from him, and the message wasn't great, obviously.
And the message wasn't great for Nuno either. Yesterday, now some have criticised his behaviour, but the two-time European Cup winner with Forest, Gary Birtles, has always claimed that the criticism of Marinakis has been unfair.
I don't think it is fair a little bit. You know, it's every club would love to have an owner like Mr. Marinakis, because he has put his money where his mouth is every season since he's taken over the club. During COVID, he was unbelievable. You know, the money he kept investing during that time was incredible. And he cares deeply about, you know, what goes on. I mean, the Awani thing, you know, the injury, that got all misinterpreted. You know, people just make their own minds up and they got it wrong. You know, he was doing things not for the reasons they were saying, but for different reasons. They, you know, concern. And when he bought the football club, he bought it for the 2 stars on the shirt and he wanted to improve things. And he's gradually doing that. And he just keeps investing. You've got to give him so much credit for doing that. He's a very quietly spoken man. You know, he's not, you know, one of these who, but he gives that impression when he's on the pitch. People think he is that sort of, but off the pitch, you know, he seems, you know, very quiet, very humble, and he's just a, you know, a fabulous thing for the football club, because he is continually willing to invest and, you know, try and take the club forward.
Support for Marinakis from Gary Birtles. Rich from Essex has texted. He supports him as well. He said, I think you guys need to see the majority of fans will stick by our owner. We know those comments made by Nuno last week were done on purpose. The fact is he hasn't played Luis since he joined. He left Hutchinson out of the Europa League squad. Seems a lot of other fans and media have a different opinion on this, but the majority of us are happy with what he has done, and we appreciate what he's done. Let's hear from a couple of Forest fans, shall we? Mike is a Forest fan. Morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning, fellas. I'm glad the sun's shining and your joy voices are again, Mr. Hill. I'm a bit upset. Look, a few things can be true. First of all, thank you, Nuno. He gave us the best we've had in 30 years, right? But I am also annoyed with him. I don't understand why he would put his foot in that known wasp's nest that is upsetting arguably the best chairman in the country. This guy couldn't be doing more for Forest fans and for the club and elevating the city back to where those joyous years before I was born, giving me the opportunity to experience it. And I feel like he's been trying to make this happen almost in plain sight, like I say, with not playing Louise. Look, last season was the most wonderful thing, getting to see the best football we've seen in years. But, you know, to be honest, I don't think there was a way back after he'd said it. I think this was inevitable. And I'm not the only Forest fan who's annoyed with him. Nuno, we're grateful. We are very grateful. If he comes back as a manager of the club, he will get applauded. But I don't think we are sat here being absolutely in absolute devastation, because why has he done it? What are the reasons?
I'm with you, Mike. I'm with you totally. I think he's done a fantastic job, but also, and I said it earlier, I think Nuno is clearly a very, very intelligent man, and he knows he's going to boot that hornet's nest, and he ain't going to win that battle. So it's no surprise to me what's happened, mate.
Well, you know, look, we all got our email yesterday to buy tickets to Europe for the first time in 30 years. We've submitted the squad. Again, it's never dull being a Forest fan. It's a bit, you go to sleep. I literally went to sleep last night and woke up and we haven't got a manager. It's never boring. So who's going to come in next, either for the entertainment or for the football decision? I don't know. It's just one of them where you go, why has it had to end like this? We were on to a good thing. I'm surprised, and it doesn't make sense because Nuno is such a professional. He knows how to navigate these situations, and he chose not to. So there must be a reason. Either he thinks I can't carry on. Our chairman couldn't have done any more through the transfer window. We got that turn of luck. Sorry, Palace fans, of being promoted to the Europa League. It was all facing in the right direction. We kept Morgan Gibbs White. There's going to be a lot of questions from the players as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they react. I think the quality of the players hopefully means they can do it. But, away at Arsenal is not exactly the first game you want when your head's in a spin, is it?
No, 4 consecutive away games now and all sorts of different competitions coming up. Started with that Arsenal game. Mike, thanks very much indeed for the call.
Thanks.
A lot of Andy says, what about Gareth Southgate for the Forest job? I don't think he's really in the market just at the moment. There'll be a lot of other suggestions. Absolutely love what Nuno has done for us, says Fred, who's a Forest fan, but he knew what he was doing. That does seem to be a consensus of opinion. And Fred says, bring on Jose Mourinho. Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to the England game, which of course is live on talkSPORT tonight, and we'll ask whether Jordan Henderson should start.
We got some off-price crack ties, some miles and miles of carpet tiles, TVs, deep freeze and David Bowie LPs, pool games, gold chains, wuss names and header push, and Trevor Francis track suits from a mush and shepherd's bush. Push, 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 push.
No income tax, no VAT, no money back, no guarantee. Black or white, rich or broke, will cut prices at a stroke. God bless Hooky Street, Viva Hooky Street, long live Hooky Street, say magnifique Hooky Street, magnifique Hooky Street.
I'm surprised you didn't get a contract after this, aren't you? Or I'm surprised there wasn't a contract on him.
That is brutal. That's it. Brutal.
Yeah. So, look, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is here. Now, 1981 was full of huge events, and I've got a list of them, according to our production team here. One of which, the first one, Metallica, a heavy metal band, was formed. Well, that was world-changing, wasn't it? There were assassination attempts on President Reagan and Pope John Paul II.
I'm clearly not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact we can't hit them with any good news from 1981.
The first London Marathon was in 1981.
It was also the death of Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything more cheerful?
MTV premiered, and then it goes downhill again. There were significant riots in Brixton and Toxteth.
Yeah.
Oh, Iran hostage crisis ends. Oh, dear me.
And you know, I remember those riots in those years. As I moved to London at that time, and we bought, where we rented, a ground floor flat on the North End Road. And at night, further down the North End Road, there'd be some rioting as well. And police vans used to line up outside our ground floor flat. And I'm thinking, any minute now, we're going to see a lot of rioters pile into the flat being chased by police. So I only had one weapon, and it was a bottle of whiskey. So I used to stand behind the door, drinking the bottle of whiskey while I waited in case any rioters burst in. And I ended up, every night of those riots, I had horrendous hangovers.
I can remember it was Toxteth, the one that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
I can remember. I mean, what are you talking there? It's 44 years ago. Dear me. And I just remember watching it on television, and it looked horrendous, didn't it?
It did. Something else you might have watched on television 44 years ago. And the reason we were playing that was it was when Only Fools and Horses was introduced to the nation.
No way.
Yeah, it was. Now, where does that stand in TV programs?
Up there. Up there.
Top 10, top 5, top 1?
Well, it's up there. It's in the conversation. Certainly top 10. I mean, it's genius.
It is.
David Jason must be one... He must be one of the best things we've ever produced in this country. A wonderful, wonderfully talented human being, isn't he?
Ah, brilliant. It was just a joy, Look.
I will never, ever forget, honestly, I will never forget when the two of them appeared over that hill with the Batman
and Robin.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Literally on the floor, hold my sides. Yeah. It was genius.
And my favourite single moment of the entire series was Del Boy trying to look cool and suave and leaning
on the bar.
But the bar has gone by then. It was fantastic. You've got some quotes, because some famous quotes posted online today.
Brilliant. Yeah, dear old Grandad, bless him. He was about as useful as a pair of sunglasses and a bloke with one ear. Very, very good. And that obviously mentions the one when he was leaning on the bar trying to impress the women. It was incredible. And he says, I think we're on a winner here, Trig. Play it nice and cool, son. Nice and cool. Now we're mine. Then the next minute, bang, down he goes.
Yeah.
Wasn't it just fantastic?
It was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely.
We actually, I think maybe a year and a half ago, might be a little bit longer, Jeff. Big Al and I had an interview with him. David Jason.
Oh, really?
Oh, man, what a gentleman, what a hero. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, he has achieved so much during his life. No, not just Only Fools.
Oh, no, of course.
Best TV lineup, we've already had an offer from James. Didn't ask for it, but actually it's not a bad shout.
We're off and running.
Not a bad shout.
No, we're off and running.
And James reckons Only Fools and Horses is second.
Yeah.
He puts Porridge as top of the list, which was brilliant with Ronnie Barker, but I'd definitely put Fools ahead of that. Blackadder, I would have up there as well.
Blackadder was fantastic, but I'll
completely agree.
Listen, I'll throw the classic at you. It's got to come into the top 3. Fawlty Towers.
Fawlty Towers
must come into the equation.
Yeah. Are they all going to be comedies?
Well, I know.
It's interesting, isn't it? How do you compare great comedies with great drama? Things like, go back as far as Cracker.
Do you know what? That's amazing. I was thinking the Big Robbie.
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah. Robert Carlyle was in that.
As he was, yeah. Brilliant.
He played the psycho Liverpool fan, didn't he?
Series as well.
Two brilliant Scots actors.
Look, we'd love to hear what's your favourite all-time TV show? Maybe give us a top three, something like that. I'm sure that's going to get people going. Right, let's get the latest odds now with Coral and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Steve-O, morning.
Morning, Steve-O.
Gentlemen, very, very good morning. Loving the Only Fools chat. Number one, no question at all in my mind. John Sullivan wrote every single word of that on his own. What Fantastic. A genius of a man. Genuinely. The great thing about Only Fools and Horses, didn't just make you laugh. He had that ability to turn it up, and some of the scenes in it that tugged at the heartstrings as well. I mean, so many lines you could go through that make ever had any trouble passing water, Mr. Trotter? I had a dizzy spell going over Tower Bridge once. They're in France.
Are we being too nostalgic again, Steve, or were they better? Was it your fault? No. Even some others do have them. Frank Spencer was hilarious.
But the great thing about Fools and Horses is you watch the repeats of them now, they're just as funny now as they were when they were first out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Listen, you're right. There's an age thing, Ali. I'm sure people half our age don't get it, but John Sullivan, absolute genius.
Can I throw another one briefly?
Go on.
Phoenix Nights.
Yeah. Yes.
It's got to come in there.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it's in the same league. I quite liked it, but I wasn't a fanatic.
I loved it. Absolutely.
Only Fools is number one for me. Clear number one. But talking about a picture that isn't clear, next Nottingham Forest manager. I heard Crookie earlier. He's sort of saying he thinks the deal's probably done. I think we're all in agreement. But he then went on to list, a whole host of names. I mean, we don't know. We've made Ange Postecoglou the even money favourite to start things off this morning, but this will be changing rapidly. Jose's in there at 8-1. Eric Ten Hag, another name mentioned, 10-1. But genuinely, look, if Mr. Marinakis does know who's got it, this will probably come to a pretty quick conclusion, but I'd love to see Jose Mourinho just for the battle of the egos.
Said that. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Let me tell you, Steve-O, you will not be knocked over in the rush by people wanting to take 10-1 about Eric Ten Hag. I can promise you
that. Generous as ever, Steve, aren't you, mate?
You may well be right on that. I mean, we got Sean Dyche who's in there at 20-1. I mean, this is. It's a show. We're talking about soap opera or comedies. We're talking about soap operas. Forest is one, but I say Ange Postecoglou appears to be the most talked about name at the moment. Anyway,
yeah, fantastic.
What about our performance last night? Before we move on to England, what about our performance? We actually played 2 to 5 shots. I felt, Steve-O.
Listen, you said you'd take 1-0, Ali. 2-0, great.
Yes.
You sat there. It's a solid start, isn't it?
Exactly.
The draw against Denmark and then that, and obviously Denmark winning as well. In Greece, that was probably a bit more of a shock, actually. But on to tonight. And England, we spoke yesterday, England were 4-5. They've eased a little bit, 10-11, which I'm not surprised about. Great confidence coming from England fans, it appears. But I say still odds on 10-11. Serbia 130. 12-5 the draw. It's been the perfect start for England in terms of results, no goals conceded. But this is a different level tonight, chaps, isn't it? It's going to be a hostile atmosphere. Point a good result, Ali, or should they be aiming for all three?
No, well, in anybody else's eyes, a point would be a good result. But in England supporters' eyes, and the ones that I'm surrounded by at this moment in time, Steve-O, nothing else than a victory would be acceptable.
Harry Kane 4-1 to open the scoring. He says he's done so many times for England. But Jeff, you got a view on this one tonight? What do you want to see?
I think we mentioned it earlier. People talk about entertainment. I'm not sure entertainment counts tonight. It did against Andorra. I wish we'd see more entertaining football then, but not tonight. Just the result. If England come away with a 1-0 or 2-0 like Scotland did last night, we'll all be very happy.
Steve, you wouldn't have lost too much money in the correct score in Israel-Italy last night, would you?
Just remind me what that was, Ali, and I'll tell you the odds.
5-4 for Italy.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was. They were 4-3 up, I think, in the 90th minute. and then Israel equalised. What a game it must have been.
Brilliant.
I did miss that one. I was watching only for horses, unfortunately.
Steve, thanks, mate.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, fellas.
See you soon.
A lot of favourite TV programmes coming in. Johnny says, In Between Us, which I tell you what, I'd agree with, but you couldn't watch it with your mum.
No chance. No chance.
It was.
No, I still couldn't watch that with my mum. However, I did enjoy it. Another one, can't believe I mentioned Still Game. Brilliant. The lads at Still Game.
Never
Fantastic.
seen Still Game.
Oh, you are joking.
Never seen Still Game, no.
Jeff, you're joking.
No. Simon from Dartford, Boys from the Black Stuff, which was a classic. I'm going to throw one in, actually. And also, somebody else has said here, Alvida's pet. Dramas, okay? It was a series called Our Friends in the North with Gina McKee many years ago.
Yeah.
And Don't Look Back in Anger was the closing titles music, and it was absolutely fantastic. Keep them coming, guys. Yeah, Andy says here, if you haven't seen it, watch Still Game. Absolutely hilarious. I haven't, Andy, so I will.
It is.
Thanks very much to Dave Stevens there of Corals. We're back with more in a couple of minutes.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
After that Ronaldo strike against Portsmouth in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner.
Now, no ball is perfectly aerodynamic, so as it travels it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Football's most prolific free-kick taker, Juninho Pernambucano, perfected the technique but didn't invent it. He was inspired by players from the 90s and even the 50s. So how do you do it? You have to hit the ball head-on with as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Hitting by the valve helps with that short contact time, as it's the hardest part of the football. So why don't we see knuckleballs much anymore? It's because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season, there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. And in 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, though spectacular, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming a thing of the past.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ally McCoist and Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. It's been, these are not moments of inspiration, it's been looking up some of the great TV series that we haven't mentioned so far. Here's some quick ones for you, Coisty. Line of Duty.
Very good.
Luther.
Martin, very good.
Broadchurch.
Yes.
Fleabag, which I loved.
Didn't see it.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think there were only a dozen of them.
Didn't
she
see
was
it.
Sensation. Derry Girls.
Very funny.
Yeah, it's
excellent.
Just some classic.
There's some great ones. I mean, the guys are coming in. There's some brilliant options here. But generally speaking, a lot of them only fools, you know, and rightly so. I think that would take a bit of beating.
Yeah.
Seems to be the most popular choice we've had from it.
Yes, it definitely does at the moment. So, look, big game tonight, of course, with England taking on Serbia. Thomas Tuchel looking to prove one or two people wrong. Don't forget, of course, it is right here on talkSPORT.
This one is far from a friendly.
You're being given that opportunity with England. This is where you take it.
An own goal and a Declan Rice header. England 2, Andorra 0.
It's boring. We left after 80 minutes.
Fans have a right to come here and expect to see 4 or 5 goals.
People are just switching off or they're bored.
I've got no genuine belief that we have any chance in this tournament.
He's got a chance to get the shot away! Vlahovic has scored for Serbia!
Tuesday's going to be a much more significant test and a much better barometer, bellwether of exactly where England are.
The competition is on, it's World Cup season.
I've been slightly disappointed with him in terms of that fearlessness, that fluidity, that freedom. We haven't really seen it.
Playing for your country is, the biggest honour for anyone. You know you have to take the opportunity.
Whacks it inside the penalty area, and Jude Bellingham with a flying header. England 1, Serbia 0.
It's camp by camp until we hopefully arrive in the US.
There's a big test coming up in Serbia, and talkSPORT will be there.
Yeah, talkSPORT is everywhere, including in Belgrade this evening for Serbia against England. Let's say good morning to talkSPORT's voice of live football, Adrian Durham. Morning, Aid.
Morning, Aid. Here he is.
Good morning from a very sunny Belgrade. Very excited about the game tonight, I have to say. It is a big test, and Thomas Tuchel acknowledged that this is exactly the test that he wants right now for this England side on the path that they're on.
Aid, before we go any further, mate, my wee mate Deck has sent me the picture of you guys setting up. I love the amount of prep that you guys do to get a good background, because it is so important. Seriously, that looks fantastic. Where are you exactly?
In the middle of Belgrade, but that behind me is the Church of St Saviour. And have a little guess, one guess each, as to how old that church is. Go on, have a guess.
1136.
1137.
Okay, no, that's not the time, but go on. 2005. There you go.
There you go. So I win. I was closest.
Know your history.
Listen, mate. After the weekend, there was a lot of. some countries are thrilled with a 2-0 victory, but seemingly not the English fans and England supporters and the media guys. What did you think, and will they make changes tonight?
Do you know what? You've hit the nail on the head there. With the expectation levels, that's the key. Yes, some nations will be thrilled with it. I'm not thrilled with it. I'm okay with a qualifying win and a clean sheet. I think in terms of qualification, it's just finishing top of the group, getting to the World Cup. That's all that matters. And if England go on and win the World Cup, nobody will remember a really dull afternoon in Birmingham when they beat Andorra by 2-0. It won't matter. What we're looking for are little hints that England might be able to do something special, and we really haven't had them yet under Thomas Tuchel. I think there will be changes tonight. I think the number 10 role will change. He openly said he wasn't happy with Abiri Eze, who got 3 out of 10 in my marks, which was the same as Tuchel, by the way. But I think Morgan Gibbs-White really deserves a chance. It could be Morgan Rogers, but I think Gibbs-White deserves a chance. So I would like to see him in that 10 role. Maybe the wide players might change because, again, he expressed publicly, Tuchel, that he wasn't particularly happy with them. Everybody is fit, though, so there was a concern about Mark Gahey, but he is fit, so that is a positive for England.
I mean, how do you see the game panning out? Are we going to attack this? Are we going to be cautious?
I wouldn't say we're going to be cautious. I would think that we will be keen not to concede, but I also think there will be more intent when we go forward, when we're in possession of the ball. He wants to see a pressing game when we don't have the ball, and he expressed this last night that he wants to see more of that, more intensity with that, and he wants to win the ball back more and then go forward with the ball. So this is what he wants. He's telling his players to do this. They're training with it. One thing he pointed out, though, is that, yes, they can train with it. They can have that intent. They can have the discussions. They can watch the videos of the opposition. Ultimately, when the whistle goes, the opposition are trying to stop you, and they're trying to do their thing as well. Serbia in particular, at home to England, will know this is their big chance of winning the group. If they win this, they will fancy the chances of winning the group. If they lose this, they know they've really got no chance of winning the group. So they've got to be a bit more front foot than England. And this is a Serbia side that only drew 0-0 in Albania, we must remember. England beat them at the Euros last year. And I think player for player, we'd all say that possibly they've got some very good players, by the way. But I think that England should be winning it if they get it right.
Aid, I'll give you my tuppence worth. Probably doesn't have the same invested interest coming from north of the border as yourselves. However, I would continue to play. I would give Elliot Anderson another game, and I'd bring in Jared Bowen. There you are. That's what I would do.
I love Jared Bowen, so I've got no problem with that. Listen, how many England players have gone through one-on-one in the last minute of a European final and buried the chance to win the trophy? Jared Bowen can stick his hand up. That's a big pressure moment, and we need players with that kind of experience. So I'm a big Jared Bowen fan. This is a big test for Anderson. It's one of the key things I'm looking forward to tonight. I believe he will keep his shirt. He will keep his place in the 11. Saturday was one thing. Doing it away in a hostile environment here in Belgrade against better opposition, I think it's a step up in test for Elliot Anderson. I personally think he can handle it, but he needs to handle it out on the pitch. So let's see if he can do that. But I'm with you as well. And I do value your opinion.
Thank you.
Yes, you're Scottish, but remarkably, I see you as neutral. Can't believe it.
Hey, Aid, a quick reaction to Nottingham Forest sacking Nuno.
Well, they've taken out a big gun, aimed it at their foot and shot it, haven't they? I mean, I just think it's absolutely crazy what's gone on there. What a season last season. That's the season from heaven. And then you've got the manager and the owner arguing on the pitch. Then there's all the things that Nuno said. As I read it, okay, and I'm not speaking for Nuno. I'm not a spokesman. I don't know him. But when you come out and say what he said a couple of weeks ago about the relationship not being good, they don't talk as much, that to me is a manager saying, I'm not sure I want to be here anymore. Not necessarily, please sack me, but I think he was okay. He was fine with not being the Nottingham Forest manager anymore. And that in itself, the manager not wanting to be there, that should make all those fans ask questions about the owner and questions about themselves going forward. I think if Nottingham Forest are not to struggle, they need to get this appointment right. Any appointment's a risk. This is not a situation they wanted. The best man for the job is Nuno, but they ain't going to appoint him again. So I think it's a big problem for Nottingham Forest.
Aid, thanks very much.
Enjoy.
Have a great night
Thanks,
tonight.
mate.
By the way, Midsummer Murders, only because I was in it.
Were you in it?
No way.
Were you murdered?
Oh, you must have been first murdered, were you not?
I survived. I've got a T-shirt with Midsummer Survivor.
I bet it wasn't to the end of the summer.
With Reece Jones, yeah.
Brilliant.
You must have been away by the beginning of August.
It was some of the best acting they've ever seen in the show.
Thanks, Aid. Enjoy tonight.
Enjoy, mate.
Rob suggests One Foot in the Grave, which many people have suggested as well. Carl, one from my generation, really, The Likely Lads. And I was thinking of another one, actually. It's another drama, Happy Valley, with Sarah Lancashire.
She's brilliant, I have to say.
Oh,
she is. The guys are carrying a couple of ones worth a mention. Dad's Army, which was brilliant entertainment. Hello, who can forget that? Some great ones, isn't there? Yeah, you forget about the Sweeney. The Sweeney's got a big mention as well.
Jack the Hammer says the royal family's got to be right up there. And he's got a line from it. He said, "What did you have for dinner, Dave? Spaghetti, bolognese? No, hoops." Thanks to talkSPORT's Voice of Live Football, Adrian Durham there. Now let's look ahead to the next hour of the show with Benchmarks, part of Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
We will be joined by the man who uncovered one of the most famous long throws of all time.
You've seen Rory throw the ball. So he goes, whoosh, and he throws her almost over the pitch. Rory, where have you been hiding that?
There, the former Stoke boss Tony Pulis will be with us. Up next, though, we'll be joined by the Cardiff City manager, Brian Barry Murphy. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Ally McCoist. So what do we know this Tuesday morning? Nottingham Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked after 21 months in charge. Steve Clarke said he's already thinking about next month, and Greece's visit to Hampden after his Scotland side took 4 points from their first 2 games in World Cup qualifying. They were very solid indeed.
Yeah.
And Manchester City and the Premier League have reached a settlement in their dispute over the rules that govern commercial deals. Here's football finance expert Martin Ziegler with more.
Basically, this is the end of the year-long, more than year-long legal dispute between Manchester City and the Premier League about sponsorship rules. Manchester City wanted to have a huge new sponsorship deal with Etihad. And initially, the Premier League knocked back that and other sponsorship deals, saying they were above the market value, basically claiming that Manchester City were trying to get sort of more money from their related parties than another club would be able to get. So there has been a massive legal dispute about this. That has finally been settled. We don't know the full details of the settlement, but what it appears is that Manchester City will not challenge the rules as being illegal, but they will be allowed to have the Etihad deal.
Martin Ziegler reporting on that. Now, last season ended in disappointment and relegation for Cardiff, back in League One after more than 20 years. Since then, though, it's been all changed, with Brian Barry Murphy taking over as manager, and after 5 wins in 6, they sit top of League One. I'm delighted to say that joining us now is the man himself. Morning, Brian.
Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Ali. Morning, Jeff.
So, Brian, are you surprised it's all happened so quickly and the turnaround has been achieved, at least so far, so rapidly, with not many new faces in?
Yeah, I probably am. So far, so good is probably the theory from ourselves, and didn't expect the results to be, I suppose, so positive so soon. But since we came into the club in pre-season, the players have showed an incredible attitude and no lack of ability. So the improvement has been pretty evident from day one, and thankfully for us, the results so far have been the same.
You certainly handled it really, really well, Brian. Were you aware, can you feel the added pressure of perhaps being expected in some quarters to go straight back up? Yeah,
definitely. I think for a club of this stature, I said in the previous weeks, if I'm being totally honest, I was a little bit taken aback by the actual size of the club. I knew this was a massive club, but the supporter fan base and how far-reaching it is in this area took me by surprise. So, all those supporters have been really behind the club from day one, and that energy has been evident from every single thing we've done in the community. We've had open days for the fans, we've had fans forums, and the sense of energy from the supporters for the club has blown me away, really. And the players have then fed back on that and given the supporters something to be excited about. And like you said, so far so good. And I suppose the most exciting thing for us is that we feel as if this squad of players can improve a lot as the season progresses, and that's what we're trying to do in this moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that obviously 1 goal conceded so far, which is fantastic.
Excellent.
I looked against Plymouth. Your back 4 were 18, 19, 22 and 24. In fact, your team was littered with players 23 years of age and under. Is that something you made a conscious effort to do? Obviously, I mean, you're at the City Academy. So are you sort of instigating things that you did there?
I wouldn't say conscious, Jeffrey. I would say one of the key parts of my decision-making process to come here was an awareness of these players. So as you said, I was at Man City for 3 years, working, I suppose, under Pep, but with a real awareness of the talent in that academy. But also I knew a lot of the young players from Cardiff and how good they were. So I suppose that was one of the things that attracted me to this job. And there's probably been a bit of surprise from, I suppose, our own owner and our supporters about how quickly those players have progressed. But for me, that was one of the big benefits of coming here. And I think, with all those players, there's always a sense of nervousness about how they'll cope or how they'll play in such a competitive league. But the progress they've made so quickly has been really evident, and as such, it gives us a chance to build something over what we hope will be a sustained period.
Brian, how do you handle the balance? I'm thinking at different games, you'll obviously throw up different propositions. I'm thinking, is it Stockport the weekend? Dave Challoner will have his side extremely well organised, and they'll pose you different problems. How much do you as a coach in that division look at the opposition and are influenced by that, or do you concentrate the vast majority of the time in your own style of play and the way you go about it with your team?
Yeah, no, I think the latter. I think, when you come in somewhere new, as you know, there's so much talk nowadays about different philosophies or ways of playing. I think it can become a little bit overwhelming for players. I would say I was lucky to work at Man City under Guardiola, and at the very start of my career, I worked under David Moyes, and those two, although from different backgrounds and very different ways of managing and playing, had remarkably similar traits in terms of a real focus on what we do as teams and as an individual. And if you build that idea and what you want to be known as a team, then really when the games come along, it almost becomes seamless, and that's our idea. But we're in the very early stages of forming that here and trying to build something that we associate with being Cardiff City. And as we progress through the season, we're very hopeful that will improve and give us a strong identity of who we want to be.
Well, the building process is going really well. I mean, obviously, Brian, your dad Jimmy is a legend in a couple of sports, hurling, Gaelic football. Did you ask him for any advice? Did you ask him about taking the job?
Yeah. I used to try and keep his identity a secret in the UK, really, Jeff, based on how much pressure I used to get when I was back home because of my association with my father. But no, he's been a huge influence on my life, obviously based on his profile back home. We've always been the public guy, and yeah, I discussed the Cardiff role with him when it came about, and both himself and my wife were pretty clear that it was something that I had to take based on, I suppose, the feedback that I was giving them on the potential for the club. And I feel very, very privileged to be here in this club with this group of players and this supporter base and this owner, which all feels pretty aligned at the moment, which is obviously helped by winning.
Brian, you mentioned Big Moisey and Pep. Obviously it'd be criminal not to watch those guys and learn and walk about with your eyes and ears open. But the important thing at the same time is obviously, dictate and get your own individual ideas across. It's getting that balance, I would imagine, isn't it?
I think that's the reason I reference both. I think if you look at both managers from such different backgrounds, and the perception is such a different way of working, but really the values that they instilled in their players from day one when I was at Preston and latterly at Man City were pretty identical. An obsessive way of working, where essentially the hub of everything you do is on the training pitch. And what I saw in both clubs was, once players get that sense of training an idea over and over again, the games become second nature, and all the dressing rooms you'll have been involved in had a really strong sense of what you want to be. And I'm very lucky here to have senior professionals who are, I suppose, nourishing the young players and pushing them. And once you get that going, I think it can lead to a very a strong environment for the players to progress in.
Brian, look, really interesting stuff. Congratulations on how it started.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Hope it continues to go well. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Thanks, mate. All the best.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Fantastic.
What a start. Couldn't have gone in.
He's a very impressive man, by the way, isn't
Absolutely. Five wins and a draw, is it? Six
wins and a draw, yeah.
6 wins.
Yeah,
can't argue with that.
One goal conceded,
Not bad, is it?
Not too shabby at all, as I say. His side littered with young players. Ross in Newcastle says, best TV shows for Jeff and Ali, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. Best ever cast in Auf Wiedersehen, Pet.
Jimmy Neal,
Tim Healy.
He was brilliant.
Absolutely.
And the one that's went on to do other things you wouldn't
Timothy Spall.
Correct.
One of my favourite all-time actors. Kevin Whately as well, who obviously went on to act with John Thor in Morse and things. Wonderful cast.
Great show, wasn't it?
Brilliant. 8:59. Coming up, we're joined by a man who played for Nottingham Forest 145 times. And we'll be asking him whether they're a club that can attract the top level of managers. That's next with Henry Lansbury.
Everyone knows there are 20 managers in the Premier League, yeah? Well, actually, no. Around 3/4 of them are not managers. The terms manager and head coach are often used interchangeably to describe Premier League bosses, but they're actually two different jobs. So let's explain how and why. For years, fans referred to Mikel Arteta as Arsenal's manager, but I'm afraid technically...
I don't think so, no.
From his first day on the job, he was the Gunners' head coach. Let's pick a random moment in time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025, there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
Good morning to you. 5 minutes past 9 o'clock. We're just reflecting on some old lives from our...
I would advise you strongly not to give me that.
I'm not going to repeat that one. I'm not going to repeat that one. It was absolutely priceless. Still makes me laugh now, many, many years.
A line from a Wiedersehen pet, yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just reading reports that Ange Postecoglou has held talks with Nottingham Forest in recent days with the prospect of taking over from Nuno Espirito Santo, so that is interesting. Forest fans, we're taking your calls. Marinakis, of course, making the headlines again. Sacking Nuno, it's safe to say the mood was very different at the City Ground last season.
Listen to that roar from the Nottingham Forest fans. Finishes at Anfield, Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Forest fans are loving every second of it.
The whole thing that Nuno has put together is just working unbelievably well, and the players believe in everything the manager's telling them.
They like that. Oh, they like that. Nottingham Forest beat Manchester City by 1-0.
This place is alive now, the City Ground.
Right footed delivery towards Wood. He's beaten the goalkeeper to it. He's headed it in, and this one will count surely. Nottingham Forest deservedly lead at Tottenham by 2-0.
It is Nottingham Forest at their very best.
I think we are doing really well, really well.
Cannot ever forget the effort of these players through the season.
When you think about where he has taken that club to and where they were when he picked them up, it is simply sensational.
Into the corner, and it is 7-0. seventh heaven for Nottingham Forest.
I can't actually quite believe the season that we're having. Nuno Santo, oh my goodness, he deserves the freedom of the city.
Well, he's had an amazing run there, hasn't he? I mean, he took them over when they were in a relegation scrap, and of course he kept them up despite a points deduction. That was amazing in itself. And then last season, virtually all of the season in the top four, and eventually finishing qualifying for Europe.
Fantastic season. Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. And I don't buy it. A lot of people say Forest will be disappointed with the way it ended. And it's all about momentum, right? Because if Forest had been about the middle and they'd ended up with a Conference League position or a Europa League position at the end, it'd have been absolutely wonderful. They had a terrific season from start to finish and should be very proud of their achievement. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now, obviously.
Yeah, and also semi-finals of the FA Cup was only Man City, I think, stopped in the tracks, wasn't it? So, look, is it going to be Ange Postecoglou then? That's the reports that are coming in at the moment that he's been holding talks in recent days with Forest. Here's talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, has got an update for us. Busy man this morning, Crookie. What have you got?
Good morning, guys. Who thought it'd be quiet once the transfer window closed? Yeah, Ange Postecoglou, I think very much now the leading contender to replace Nuno Espirito Santo. I've got it on pretty good authority that Ange is ready to accept the job if it's offered, ready to return to the Premier League. I believe he's turned down the advances of Fenerbahce in recent days over in Turkey, so that's a pretty big clue as well. And I think what attracts Evangelos Marinakis, the Forest owner, to Postecoglou is what we were speaking about earlier this morning, that attacking, exciting playing style, which maybe Nuno didn't deliver. And I think it's really churlish, actually, when you've already listed the success story they were last season. Forest in the top four for much of the campaign, ended up qualifying for European football for the first time since the 1990s, reached an FA Cup semi-final. So I'm fascinated to see how this works out. It's not a done deal yet, and Marinakis can be unpredictable, so we'll have to wait until the contract is signed and sealed. As I mentioned this morning, by all accounts, Marinakis also admires the likes of Andoni Iraola, Oliver Glasner at Palace and Marco Silva. But I think at the moment, Postecoglou is in the box seat, and this could happen quite quickly, despite the fact that Forest is saying nobody has been lined up at this stage. They go to Arsenal live on talkSPORT on Saturday, and that would add a bit of extra spice, wouldn't it? A former Tottenham manager potentially in the opposing dugout.
Here's a question for you then, Crookie, and it's a hypothetical one at this moment in time. Postecoglou becomes the next Forest manager. Does he change his style to suit the players that Nuno has, picked in terms of the way they play, or does he going to try and change them the way that Ange plays?
I think you know the answer to that one, Ali. Postecoglou's got one way of playing. He did change it a little bit in the.
Well, he did. To be fair, in the final against United and indeed Frankfurt. Was it Frankfurt?
He did.
Yeah.
But I think his remit will be to bring that brand of football that Marinakis wants to see, not just at Forest actually, but across all his clubs. And this has been a big bone of contention between Nuno Espirito Santo and Edu, who's come in to oversee all of the clubs under the Marinakis umbrella. And this is a fallout, obviously, between manager and owner, but I think it's more of a fallout between manager and sporting director. Nuno felt like his power was being challenged, and ultimately Marinakis had a decision to make. Did he back the manager who's brought European football back to the City Ground, or did he back the man that he's appointed to transform all of his clubs? And ultimately Edu has come out on top in this power struggle.
Yeah. Crookie, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Crookie, mate.
Intriguing to see just what does happen, but those are the reports coming out of the City Ground right now. We know, of course, that Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked, but the reports are that Ange Postecoglou has been having talks with the Nottingham Forest hierarchy. Let's get some more reaction to this news. Let's speak to a man who's played for Forest many times, 145 times in actual fact. Henry Lansbury. Morning, Henry.
Morning, Henry.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Yeah, very good. Thanks,
Great,
mate.
thank you, mate.
What did you make? Were you shocked when it was announced that Nuno had been sacked?
Yes, I was very shocked. I thought the club was going in a stable direction. Obviously, had a great season last season, and it's just a shame, really. I think I spoke to a few Forest fans earlier, and they are a bit shocked as well.
Tell me, Henry, from a player's point of view, mate. Right, Nuno's obviously had a fantastic season there last year. Gibbs White's re-signed. They've made various acquisitions to come into the club. It looks as though everything in the garden was rosy, certainly in the dressing room. How's that dressing room going to be this morning?
Well, I'd be shocked myself if I was in that dressing room. But I think as a player, you kind of have to revamp yourself and go again, and you've got to start to impress the new manager that comes in straight away. But I think with that tight-knit dressing room they've got, I think they'll be fine.
We've got the last bit of that, Henry, but we'll keep trying because the line's not great at the moment. So, look, the reports are that Ange Postecoglou's been having talks with Forest. What would you make of that if he were to be appointed?
Too happy with him. So, from a Nottingham Forest fan, I would happily have stayed with Nuno because I think he settled it all down. But is change good? I'm not too sure in this case.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously they're going to make a change come what may. I mean, it's an unusual situation, isn't it? Because they've had such a fantastic campaign last season. Back into Europe after so long. Do you fear it will derail them?
A little bit in my back of my mind, I think it does, but I really hope it doesn't. Like I say, the club deserves to be where it's at. It's such a big club, and from a player's point, you just want it run smoothly, and it looked like it was going to be that way for a while. But obviously now this has thrown a spanner in the works, and I hope it doesn't cause too much effect on them.
Henry, look, it's a terrible line, so thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean,
that's what you got to fear that it will. Look, who knows what this season would have held anyway? But it looked to me as if, okay, they lost Elanga, sold Elanga for big money.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it looks to me like they had a stronger squad than last season.
Definitely.
In truth.
Oh, definitely. I don't think that's up for debate.
It would be a disaster for the club if this was to derail.
Of course it would. The only thing that I think can prevent or could prevent, I mean, this could derail them. Of course it could. But the only thing I could see with Nuno at the helm would be the number of games now that they've got because of Europe. I think they've got a stronger squad, which I think they had to have for European football. And I was really interested, and I'm still really interested and looking forward to seeing how they do. But that was the only thing that I thought could have derailed them. Same as it has done. We've seen it before with Villa to a certain degree, and indeed Newcastle. But, I mean, it's really, really interesting to see who they bring in. It really is.
Yeah, dramatic day, dramatic night and dramatic day, actually. At the City Ground for you Nottingham Forest fans, former Forest midfielder Henry Lansbury there. Just joining us, the latest news is that Ange Postecoglou is reported to be in talks with Nottingham Forest to replace Nuno Espirito Santo. You can have your say. 03717223344 is the number to call. Actually, let's take a quick call now. John is a Forest fan. Morning, John.
Good morning, John. How are you feeling this morning?
Hey guys, how's it going? You all right?
Very well, thanks, John. What do you think?
Right, so the rumours about Ange Postecoglou, if you don't mind. I'll tell you, there's a lot of fans and a lot of lads I know are saying we don't want him, etc., right? And listen, there's two things. One, we've got to trust Marinakis. He's the guy that took us from bottom of the Championship, first time in 23 years in the Prem, into Europe first time in 30 years, and he's backed the club to the hilt. So let's give the owner a little bit of credit here. Secondly, Postecoglou, while he might not be a lot of people's choice, a lot of people said they didn't want Nuno. We don't want Nuno, he plays negative, as a failure at Tottenham, etc., etc. And with Postecoglou, if you look at his record for Spurs, right, which is a comparison a little bit, he finished 17th, Nuno finished 17th, I think it was with Forest in first season, kept us up. He finished 5th Postecoglou in his first season with Spurs, won 3 Manager of the Month awards and won a Europa League trophy and got him in the Champions League. Now, don't get me wrong, Nuno last season, amazing, won away at Liverpool, beat Brighton 7-0, love the guy, he did amazing for us. But we're now in the Europa League by default, Spurs are in the Champions League. I just think there's a lot of positives for Ange. Having said that, I'd rather have Glasner or Areola, but I don't think we're going to have any chance of getting them out of their clubs. So, I think we've just got to give the guy a chance and back Marinakis.
Would you take Mourinho, John?
Oh, God. For the bants. I can't believe I said the word bants, Ali. But no, for the sort of laugh and the turmoil and all this kind of stuff, yeah, but I hate to say it, and I can't believe I'm saying turn down a 3-time Premier League and 2-time Champions League winner. but it feels like he's at the.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, but we
We
knew
know what he was gonna say.
We knew exactly what John was going to say there.
Yeah.
We knew exactly.
What he was going to say was that he would rather have Ange Postecoglou, who lost 22 games in the Premier League last season,
Correct.
and serial winner Jose Mourinho.
Correct.
Anyway, look, that's his right. He might be right as well. We shall see. Tony Pulis is with us next. A very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. It's Tuesday, September the 9th. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ally McCoist is with me. We're through until 10 o'clock this morning then. Right, in the last couple of seasons, you will have noticed that long throws are very much back in vogue in English football, British football, in truth. And Thomas Tuchel, the England boss, has been saying this week, I told you, the long throw-in is back. Once we arrive at the World Cup, all these things matter. So we'll talk about long throw-ins, we'll talk about long kicks from the goalkeeper, and not just playing things short. Now, in the Premier League, on average, long throws in the penalty area have increased from less than 1 per match 5 seasons ago to over 3 per match right now. And it seems to me that absolutely everybody wants a long throw expert. So to understand a little better why teams are going back to long throw-ins and maybe back to long clearances from the back as well, there is surely nobody better to talk to than the man who put the long throw very much on the map, none other than the former Stoke manager, Tony Pulis. Morning, Tony.
Tony, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali. Yeah, very good, thank you.
Excellent.
How do you feel about that, Tony, when we talk about, you as the man who put the long throw on the map?
Well, I don't think I was. I think if you go back, hopefully you two are old enough. In the 1970 Cup final replay at Old Trafford, Ian Hutchinson threw a ball that David Webb scored off that won Chelsea the FA Cup.
Yep.
So it's been going on for a long, long time. The problem is most of the people watching football now are not old enough to remember it.
Absolutely, Tony. I'm actually surprised that some people are surprised, because I think it's quite a logical thing. If you are a manager or a coach of a team who feels they might be playing against an opposition who, for example, could be technically better than them, I would think it's pretty obvious. The one thing you do is make them feel as uncomfortable as you possibly can and attempt to take them out their comfort zone. And if that means putting it in the opposition box at every opportunity, whether it's a free kick, a corner, or a long throw, and ask their defenders to defend, that's what you would do.
Well, when we initially got promoted, I spoke to Alex Ferguson and Steve Coppell. Steve had just been relegated with Reading, and Alex had won the league that year. And Steve told me a few things that really, really came in handy. And then speaking to Alex, Alex said, I've watched you play. You're not going to win many games away from home. So you've got to make the Britannia, or what now is the Bet365 Stadium, a very difficult place to go. So seeing Rory take a throw in training and being able to throw it almost over the other side of the pitch, and the trajectory being so flat, we spent a lot of time working on it, and we had great success the first couple of years, which we needed everything. We had to be smart. We needed everything in our favour at home to win matches, to give us time then to improve the club and bring better players in. It was such a great weapon for us, and it's no surprise that it's being used today. Two things with it: a little bit of common sense here. I know people are making it out to be scientific. The delivery has to be good, and you have to have people who want to head it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get those two, then it doesn't work. And that's the same off all set play, whether it's corners, free kicks, or throw-ins. And I've been very fortunate to work with people who, with the delivery being good, they're desperate to get in there and score goals.
Tony, I think you're so right, but I think perhaps the one thing that you probably think as well, but didn't mention there, and you might be thrown into a box where, incidentally, they don't like heading it.
Well, Ali, if you look at football today and the way it's progressed over the last 5 or 6 years, I don't think defenders head the ball anyway.
Yep.
Heading has gone out of the game. I don't know whether it's because of health reasons or whatever. But when you played, those centre halves used to they'd head battleships out of the water. Never mind the balls, the light balls we got today. So actually getting the ball in the box today does cause enormous problems, and it won't surprise me that in the future, wide players, instead of coming inside, will start going down the line and crossing balls.
Yeah,
we talked about exactly that yesterday.
Yeah. That's exactly what we spoke about yesterday, Tony.
Yeah, that will come into the game without a question of a doubt, because defenders don't work on the basics like we used to.
Do you feel, Tony, we're going to go almost full circle again? Do you feel that we're going to see more teams going long from the goalkeeper rather than playing out from the back?
Yeah, football's like fashion. It goes round. Are you wearing bell bottoms now?
Yeah, I mean, Ali's gear will come back into fashion one day.
I wore them when I was younger, and I've just got the wardrobe open again and brought them back out. So it goes in fashion. You know, that the football will be exactly the same. It's all about winning. I don't care what anybody says. If you're going to be a manager and you want to stay in the game for a long period of time, you have to find a way to win. You know, people talk about clubs getting promoted and getting relegated. You can't follow suit of what the top clubs are doing. Yeah. You've got to find a way that suits your football club to win football matches. And like I say, promote the promoted teams. The most important thing is their home form, and you do whatever it takes to win games at home, because it gives you the opportunity and the chance to get money in and then to build the club and take it on even further. And set plays for me. We're you know, I know most of the players will say I bored them to tears, but we worked so hard on set plays, Jeff, Ali, because we knew it was important for us to win football matches.
Well, Tony, look at the proof of it. I mean, one of the top sides in the country for the last number of years, without doubt, have been Arsenal. Yeah. And how good have they been at particular corners?
Yeah, fantastic, and you know they've brought it to the front. Reem, you needed one of the top teams to do it for everybody to stand up and look at it and not think it was a negative thing. And Arteta has done that and done it, you know, to great extent, and it's been fantastic to watch it because, like I say, I used to like setting my teams up to be very difficult to beat, but also use every trick in the book I could. It didn't suit everybody. Everybody didn't like it, but I didn't give a damn about what other people thought. My responsibility was to Stoke City Football Club, to West Bromwich, to Crystal Palace, the teams I managed in the Premier League, or any other team. I think 10 all around. My responsibility was to the chairman and the supporters, and we wanted to win football matches and whatever it take within the rules to win those games.
Tony, brilliant.
Great to talk, Tony.
Great to see you again, Tony.
Yeah, look after yourself, boys.
You too,
Take care, Tony.
Bye.
It's great to see that football going full circle. You know, and all the things that Tony Pulis preached are coming back into the game.
Yeah, and why should it not? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Not everybody can play like Barcelona under Pep or Manchester City under Pep. That's great for them because they've got the players to do it. If you've got somebody with a long throw and you've got maybe crouching him, why would you not?
Play the hand you dealt.
Correct.
You know, completely. I'd have loved to ask Tony actually there, who had the longest throw in, Rory Delap or Dave Challoner? It was certainly one of the two of them. I mean, we should get the boys both now. Let's have a rerun, shall we?
Throw off.
A throw off, yeah, and see who's got the longest throw now. I'm not sure that it's something that you lose if you don't practice or not, you know?
I think maybe it's like anything else. I think the power would maybe go.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, it's quite amazing now. You see some clubs and they want to utilise the long throw, and you think there's a long throw coming, and then somebody will take it, and it just about reaches the edge of the penalty area, you know? They're not quite in the Delap Challoner class, not just yet anyway. Kevin Dancer at Spurs is an exception.
Yeah, of course.
A legendary Premier League manager, Tony Pulis there. Just a reminder, a reminder of the big news this morning. Ange Postecoglou is apparently ready to accept the Nottingham Forest job. That's talkSPORT's understanding. As previously reported, Postecoglou has been having talks with Forest over the last few days. We want to hear from you on that news, Forest fans. 03717 223344 is the number to call.
I'm not a clown. I never will be, mate.
What football ground are you thinking of when someone says this?
Really tough place to go. Difficult place to go. Such a tough place to go.
It's a tough place to go at the moment.
It was a really difficult place to go.
But what are the toughest places to go, really? We've had a look. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day, on the side of a cliff in the Faroe Islands in Euro 2000 qualifying. The pitch at Toftir was like a cow field, never mind those gale force winds. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time. Cue Scandi scenes. But away trips don't come tougher than playing Bolivia at altitude in La Paz. Or so we thought. The Bolivians have now taken home advantage to another level, literally 500 metres further up the Andes to the country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Meanwhile, the loudest stadium in world football officially is the Ali Sami Yen, where Galatasaray fans set a world record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead. But our most intimidating away day is in Wales. Prison team HMP Prescoed was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Good morning, it is 9:36. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, and Ali McCoist, and of course Arnold Clark. Gets £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Is Ange the right man for you, Nottingham Forest fans? Let's speak to George, who's a Forest fan. He's not happy with the news, are you, George?
Oh, no. Morning, George.
Morning, Ali. Morning, Jeff. How are you doing?
Well, mate, you might not be happy with it, George, but surely it's not a massive surprise, is it?
I think it's just more the fact that I'm worried that we're going to go down the West Ham route of our hierarchy saying that we want to play this free-flowing attacking football when it's quite clear our team is set up for counter-attacking kind of play. And don't get me wrong, Nuno's been an absolute tool in saying what he said and everything like that. But I feel like in realistic terms, he's unemployed. He'll come into the job. And to be fair, I was nervous about Nuno at first and look what job he's done. So I'm not going to complain too much, but I just feel like there's other managers out there that are more suitable, maybe like a Marco Silva or someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question of whether at this stage the owner's going to be willing to pay what would be a significant amount of compensation when someone like Ange is there, waiting, ready to go, could be in place before the next game against Arsenal.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like to say, it's just more the fact that I feel like we're going from one extreme to another in terms of style of football. And I don't want us to be in a situation like West Ham have been or other teams where we've got this ambitious vision of playing free-flowing attacking football when for the past few years our team's been really set up on counter-attacking. And it's not like we haven't been playing bad football. Everyone was so impressed with us last year.
Of course.
So it's not like we stink the place out or anything. We played good football. And I think given time, and will probably do a good job. I just worry of how stubborn he was at Spurs. It was borderline unhealthy with how stubborn he was at Spurs. So I'm just worried that will kind of lag into Forest and not let us have as good a season as what we could potentially have.
George, thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, George.
No worries, thanks, guys.
Now, back in January this year, we lost a real footballing great. I mean, words that are used too often, but in this case, absolutely right. It was a legend, an absolute legend.
No doubt about this.
Won the Ballon d'Or in 1964. Denis Law lost his long battle with Alzheimer's, a condition that disproportionately impacts older adults. Denis not alone in this fight by any means. Approximately 850,000.
That's staggering, that figure.
Isn't it? Have dementia. So in memory of Denis, of course, started his career at Huddersfield and then went on really to make his name in Manchester. There will be a charity walk between those two places on Saturday, the 20th of September. And former Huddersfield striker Andy Booth has helped organise the event. He can tell us more about it because he's joining us now. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Andy.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ali.
So look, I mean, Denis, let's talk about Denis first of all. The loveliest of men. I mean, I did a lot of prostate cancer walks, and Denis was a massive supporter. He's one of the few people, Andy, I think you'll never hear a bad word about.
No, I think you're right. And I was lucky enough to meet him on a few times back at the club. And whenever we asked him to do anything, he always used to come back, and nothing were too much trouble for Denis. And he, like I said, whatever we asked him to do, he'd do. And for such a legend of football, and everybody knows him, I think he always realised what Huddersfield, the club started his career. So I think he had a fond memories of his time at Huddersfield.
Andy, tell me, clearly, you're right, a legend worldwide, but particularly from where I'm from, up Scotland, we're very, very proud of him and absolutely loved him. Where did the idea come from? You know, how long will it take? How many people are going to do it? And you know, where were your first thoughts to get this up and running?
Well, the club organise charity walks every year, so we always try and do it on a football themed basis. So we've done walks for Frank Worthington, Ray Wilson, Jordan Sinnott. Last year we did Marcus Stewart to raise awareness for the MND for Derby Rimmer. So we always try and base it on his past players. And obviously, Denis sadly lost his battle with Alzheimer's early on in the year. So the club wanted to do something in his memory. So we always look to do around 25 miles. So for what we invite any supporters, not just Huddersfield Town supporters, any supporters to come and join us. So we're starting at the Etihad at 4:30 and walking 25 miles, hopefully back in time for the start of our home game against Burton Albion on the 20th of September. We've got well over 100 supporters, walkers walking for us. We do as well. It's 25 miles, and we know it's a massive challenge for everybody taking part, and that's what we like, because it's got to be a challenge when people are raising money and donating. But we know how tough it is in this day and age. But for people to be raising money, we know it's got to be a tough event. And the unfortunate thing is, when you're going from the Etihad to our stadium, you've got to cross the Pennines, and it doesn't matter which route you take, there's some climbing to do. So it's going to be a massive challenge for them. But we're doing a short walk as well. So not everybody can do the 25 miles, but we're starting just this other side of the Pennines as well, doing a 10-mile short walk. So the supporters have got right behind us. And like I said, we've got well over 100 supporters taking part in the walk, which is a massive achievement.
And I'll tell you what, Andy, I've done that walk. And you think, well, we're over the Pennines. And then you come into Huddersfield, and it's like climbing a mountain in places, isn't it? There are some hills there, mate.
That's one thing about Huddersfield. There's hills everywhere.
There are.
And you can't get away from it. So I always tell them when we're organising the walk, there's hills, but there's a lot more downhills as well. So I've got to put a little bit of positivity on it. But it's going to be tough. And do you know what? We have 14-year-olds up to late 70-year-olds taking part, all sizes. And they're doing it obviously to support the football club, but they're doing it especially this it's a fantastic charity. And you look at the key stats for the Alzheimer's, and you look, there's around 1 million people living with dementia in the UK. 1 in 3 people born in the UK today will develop dementia in their lifetime. So for the football club just to be doing a little bit and hopefully raising the awareness and raising a bit of money to help the charity is something we're very proud of.
And sure you should be, Andy. Just a quick one about the team. Sitting all right. It was a third place point off the top with Brian Barry Murphy, Cardiff manager, on earlier on. He's saying he's enjoying it. You boys have started well. I think, was it Bradford at the weekend you've got?
Yeah, we got a tough one at Bradford. Obviously, it's a local derby. Both teams are flying high, and it's been a while since we've played Bradford City, so a lot of our supporters are looking forward to it. Obviously, we've just keep missing them in relegation and promotions. We've not played against them for a long time. So, yeah, both teams are doing well. But, yeah, there's quite a lot of positivity in the club at the minute. We've had a fantastic summer. We made 14 new signings. Obviously, Lee Grant's come in and given him his first managerial job, and for what he's done in these 3 months, the fans have really taken to him. And yeah, we're hoping there's going to be some special times ahead for us.
Yeah, well, we're talking about legends, mate. In Huddersfield, you fit the bill there perfectly, don't you? What was it?
You're up there, mate.
Just under 400 league appearances, something like that. Hometown club, not too shabby.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was born and bred in Huddersfield. I supported Huddersfield. My mum and dad worked in the turnstiles at Huddersfield. So for me to be able to play, I think 450 games for Huddersfield, scoring 150 goals. I was lucky enough to have a fantastic spell at Sheffield Wednesday and a very short spell at Spurs. But yeah, Huddersfield's always been my club. And for me still to be involved with it, yeah, I'm very lucky.
A bit more than luck involved, Andy. Look, just finally, mate, before you go, how can if people want to donate, how do they donate?
Yeah, we've got a Just Giving site, and if anybody wants to go on to Just Giving, it's justgiving.com/team/Watford Dennis. And I know that's a little bit of a mouthful, so if you just go on to Just Giving and type in Watford Dennis, I'm sure it'll come up. And like I say, every penny counts. It's the biggest health crisis. It's the biggest killer in the UK. So every penny helps to go towards hopefully finding a cure for this.
Hey, good luck, Andy.
Brilliant, Andy.
Hope it goes well, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Good luck to you, mate. Thanks, your team.
Cheers. Thanks very much for inviting me on.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. An absolute pleasure. He was a legend in Huddersfield.
You better believe it.
Dennis Law. Oh.
You better believe it.
Chris from Nottingham Forest, he said, I can't get over the fact we're appointing a manager with 22 league defeats last season. That's more than under Cooper and more than under the Cooper Nuno season. I just don't get it. We'll need to win the fan base round and fast. Give me 17th. Right now. Ooh. Do you agree? Well, let's find out. 03717 223344. Is Postecoglou the right man to replace Nuno? We'll discuss that next. Good morning, very nearly 9:50. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Ally McCoist is with me. Just 8 or 9 minutes of the show to go. It's been a fantastic morning, and thank you so much for all the texts we've had.
Some participation this morning.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thousands and thousands.
Yes.
I'm not exaggerating. Brilliant.
Been great.
Some great contributions. Yeah, and I'm sorry we hadn't read yours out.
No.
Just been absolutely inundated with them. Of course, the big story of the morning, Nuno Espirito Santo, sacked by Forest. talkSPORT understands that Ange Postecoglou could be in the dugout this lunchtime, live on talkSPORT, when they face Arsenal. Chris has had his say on that. He's in Colchester. He said, I'm forever grateful for Ange for winning the Europa League for Tottenham, and I'm sure at Forest he will win a trophy in his second season, but it may well be the Championship. Ooh, Chris, you're not making it any easier for Forest fans who may be a bit unhappy about the impending appointment. Let's hear from some Forest fans, shall we? Let's head to the phone lines right now. Samaya is a Forest fan. Good morning, Samaya.
Hi, Samaya.
And I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Oh, it's okay, it's fine. It's Samia, but it doesn't matter.
Samia, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you,
fine.
Samia.
That's what I said. I actually said it was Samir. How are you feeling this morning,
okay.
Samir? How are you this morning? What are you thinking?
I don't want Ange. I think it's a big mistake, if I'm being honest. But I feel a bit gutted, to be honest with you. It wasn't what I thought at the beginning of the season was going to happen. You know, we're in such a good place. We're in Europe. You know, it's been so long since we've been in Europe. We're in Europe. You know, we had a fantastic season last season, but I could just tell from Nuno's demeanour and his kind of the way, the things he was saying, even before we kicked a ball, you know, that Sky Sports kind of interview saying the squad wasn't ready. Something felt off and it didn't feel right with him, because he was never like that last season. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's not a mistake getting rid of him. He's fun. To me, he's fantastic. I thought the same when Cooper left, so I'm hoping I'm wrong, but he's not going to be short of offers, but I think that, you know, with the press conference and what he said about our owner, and our owner doesn't do sentiment, you know, it's a business at the end of the day. It's the money that he's feeding into the club. So for me, the writing was on the wall, and I've kind of, you know, we should be happy as Forest fans. We're in Europe. It should be an exciting time, and it's not been. It's just been plagued with this uncertainty and stress of what's going to happen with Nuno, and obviously now we know. So
Mia, then, does it change your view of Mr. Marinakis?
Do you know what? We've been in the wilderness, Jeff, for so many years, languishing in the Championship, you know, and you know, we've come up. It doesn't, because he's got everything right so far. I'm not sure about Ange. This is the first time where I'm questioning a little bit. Has this been kind of in the pipeline for a while? Did Nuno have an inkling before that press conference, and that's why, you know, he's kind of come out and said these things? It doesn't change my view on him. You know, he's put a lot of money into the club. It's his money at the end of the day. And obviously, if things aren't right behind the scenes, how can they work together then? You know, obviously something's gone off, something drastic's gone off for this to happen. So, you know, we'd heard that there was going to be a meeting between, you know, Mr. Marinakis, Edu and Nuno. Whether that happened, I don't know. You know, Nuno did say after the West Ham game that they were going to meet. The West Ham performance and how we lost that game didn't really help his cause, I don't think, either. So,
Samia, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
Hope
Samia.
It works out well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Text here saying there is a world where Forest finish 17th and win the Europa League. Yeah. There is.
Of course they could.
Cameron's a Forest fan. Morning, Cameron.
Good morning.
Cameron, what do you make of it all?
Well, it's upsetting, really. He's an absolute clown. Like, his football managerial record isn't good. Nuno, it was sort of, you know, written on the wall a bit. He is a bit stubborn with his subs and his decisions in games to change it up. So I'm not actually that upset that he's gone. He's done massive things for Forest, but to think Ange Postecoglou is the next best move for Forest, I can't wrap my head around it. He's arrogant. He's thin-skinned. You know, when he first come to the Prem, he was saying all these things, and we thought, wow, it's refreshing. And then it got a bit boring, and he just kept saying the same things. He's going at it with his own fans. The only thing I can think is he's not going to last too long, and then we'll be able to move on again.
Who would you take then, mate, yourself? Who would your first choice be?
Mourinho. Even if it's just to the end of the season, offer him a nice bonus for the winning the Europa League. You know, and it'd be cinema, him and Marinakis, and, you know, we'd carry on being the most entertaining club in the league.
Look, very best of luck to you, mate. Hope it works out for you.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thanks.
Glenn's a Forest fan. He said, be interesting to ask all these Forest fans saying no to Ange, whether they originally said yes to Nuno. I remember everyone saying the same thing when Steve Cooper left. And now they all love Nuno. Whoever they appoint, we should just get behind them.
That's true.
Come on, you Reds. Yeah, and I completely accept that, Glenn. But you can understand with the position that he's left you in, there would be some scepticism, bearing in mind what happened to Ange at Tottenham in terms of the Premier League, not in Europe, of course. They won the Europa League.
I understand that concept, but I think he's 100% right. I think fans will always be, and so they should be, entitled to their opinion, have their own view. But once Marinakis makes the decision of the new boss, then you get behind them.
Yeah, completely. Matt in Nottingham says that, actually. He says, full trust in Marinakis. It is what it is, and everything happens for a reason. And I think, as you've said in particular, but right throughout, you know, it's been blindingly obvious that once Nuno spoke out, this was going to happen. There was no way back.
No. And he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he knew that, as I said earlier, Jeff, you're not taking on that owner and winning. You are not taking him on, because you can tell right now what kind of owner he is. And I can understand the Forest fans being very appreciative, because he's probably given them the best time, and certainly in recent years.
Yeah.
But one thing is, he's commanding. He'll dictate what he wants for the club. He won't. I'm saying he won't listen. Of course, he'll listen to other people, but the biggest factor is he will make his own mind up, and he will have the final say.
Of course, it's been the story that's dominated the morning, but England playing tonight in Serbia. Tricky game. Got a prediction, Ali?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a comfortable 2-0 like we got last night. I think you'll sneak it 1-0 or 2-1.
Yeah, that'll do nicely.
Yeah, of course it would.
Yeah,
of course it would.
You didn't have to cope with a hostile crowd last night. You didn't have to cope with any crowd last night.
Let's finish the show as we started. When my missus phoned us up last night, sitting watching the game. You enjoying the game? Yes. Just to say that she was a little bit disappointed in the Tartan Army travelling support not been there in numbers.
Of course, if you didn't know, it was a game that was played behind
closed
doors. But there were still a number of the Tartan Army there, because they decided to make the trip out there, even though they knew they weren't going to be allowed in, because they say that their international jaunts are always absolutely fantastic.